level. Meanwhile, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals hits the ice as the Florida Panthers get a third shot to hoist the cup, while the Edmonton Oilers hope to continue their improbable comeback with a third straight win on their home ice. The game airs right here on Fox Sports 910 at 5 p.m. And the Diamondbacks take on the Phillies for the first time since last season's NLCS. Jordan Montgomery gets the ball for Arizona, while Philadelphia trots out former Snake Taijuan Walker to the hill. I'm Drew Allen on Fox Sports 910, available everywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
This is the Parker & Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
For your Friday, another hot day with temperatures right around 114. We'll see mostly sunny skies today with some breezier conditions. Very slight chance of a thunderstorm for tonight with those overnight lows dipping into the 90s. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Ty Brennan.
This report is sponsored by Phoenix Raceway. The NASCAR Cup Series returns to Phoenix Raceway on Sunday, November 10th for a championship showdown. Limited Sunday grandstand tickets remain, so get yours before they're gone. The NASCAR Championship Weekend at Phoenix Raceway, November 8th through the 10th. Get your tickets now at PhoenixRaceway.com.
Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Roc. In Iraq and need a check? Make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900 and always online at lernerandrow.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. on Fox Sports 910.
Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks came away with a 5-2 rubber match victory over the Nationals at Nationals Park yesterday. The Phoenix Mercury go for their third win in a row as they visit the Minnesota Lynx at the Target Center tomorrow night. Welcome into Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. As we're out here at Wright Toyota, I'm Dan Manucci. He's Jackson Groff filling in for the guys back at the fine iHeartRadio studios. Is Chris Schubert, as we have a great Friday afternoon planned for you. A little toasty out there. I would stay cool, but Jack's all good to go. No 115-degree heat. It's cooling down to about 112 this afternoon, and you didn't have to go beat it up this morning.
Yeah, I'm blessed today. We're in the beautiful Wright Toyota, the nice AC just breezing down my neck as we're in here talking sports. But, Manuch, I think I actually liked your State 48 roofing. It's your call question of the day, which I'm excited to talk more about and see what you have to say on this. What's your go-to weekend spot as the summer has started?
Well, and here's the thing. Since yesterday was the first day of summer, right? It was a cool 115 degrees out there yesterday afternoon. So I figured, you know what? Let's just put something a little fun out there that'll kind of get you thinking about what do you do? And my State 48 roofing, it's your call question today, as you alluded to there, Jax. Now that summer has started, what is your weekend go-to? What do you do? You're in town. It's the weekend. Number one, the backyard pool and barbecue action going on. Number two, the nearest lake. Number three, head to California. Or number four, stay home and chill. Just go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter and you can vote. Shu, I'm going to come back to you. I mean, you're the you got softball going. You got all kinds of things going on. What's the go-to for one Chris Schubert back there?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I was at softball 4 days this week for 3 hours after we get done with the show. From 6 to 9, I've been out at the softball field with my daughter. The pool is where you will find me on the weekend, dipping into the nice, cool pool for the weekend.
Again, just go to @Roc and Manuch on Twitter. Well, the D-backs, as I mentioned, they came away with that 5-2 rubber match victory over the Nationals. Randall Grichuk was 2 for 4 with a double and 2 RBIs. How about Christian Walker? 2 for 5 with a solo home run. Ron Nelson tossed 7 innings of 2-run ball to improve at 5-5 on the season. And Paul Sewell picked up his 8th save of the year. Arizona, don't look now, folks. They're 37-38. And would you tell me yesterday they are now second in the wild card race for the National League? Is that correct?
Unfortunately, it was correct at the time. It is no longer correct because of how closely contested and how bad the National League is. They are now currently in a tie for the 3rd wild card spot after the action last night. That's how fluid it is, guys. 9 teams within 2 games of a spot in the National League. So depending on who wins and who loses on a given night, you could have 2 new teams in there by the time you wake up the next morning.
Did I see that in the last 13 games? Did I read this wrong? That Corbin Carroll's batting, 348, 350, something like that. At last 13 games, he's caught fire, and he's raised that batting average to what I think it's up 225, if I'm not mistaken. But nice to see him. And I got to tell you what, Jax, with this team as banged up the triage that they are with all the injuries, I mean, to be looking back at Philadelphia starting today, that'd be 3:45 Arizona time, by the way, on Apple TV. So if you got Apple TV, it'll be on there. Nice to see that they're kind of holding ground and holding serve, and guys are coming through, especially the bullpen. Only 4 hits given up in yesterday's game.
Yeah, and with the amount of injuries, like you mentioned, the bullpen, Gallen and Kelly still out right now. You love to see the production out of your hitting. That's been the biggest thing that we've preached on the show. The batting that's been poor as of recent, but in June, you're starting to get some better batting and starting to get some better hits from this Diamondbacks team. And what better matchup would you rather have as you're starting to play better, as you're starting to get hot, then go back to Philly, the first matchup that they've played since the NLCS last year in 2023. This Diamondbacks team looks different. This Philly team looks different. But I'm going to ask you, Shu, because you're more of a baseball guy than probably 99% of the guys out there. What's a key that you look for when you look at this Diamondbacks Philly series? I know it's just a series during the season. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the playoffs, but there's got to be some extra meaning for both teams as they play each other since the first time since last October.
Yeah, I heard that in the update while I was getting ready for the show, and I didn't realize, we talk about the team every day and we know who they play, but I didn't realize that this was the first time they have met since playing in the playoffs. It's just the quirks of the schedule. Jax, you're going to hate this answer. Manuch, you might also hate this answer, but look, you just want to tread water in this kind of series. Sure. You are a team that so far is exceeding the expectations that have been put on you based on your circumstances. I think before the season, we expected a certain thing for this team, but injuries have forced us to kind of shift how we think about this team, and they have exceeded those expectations, in my opinion, with what they've been able to do. Well, you're going up against the best team in the National League, in the Philadelphia Phillies. You just got to tread water. You just can't get swept. You can't get embarrassed. You can't get punked over 3 games and lose every game 10-0 and get embarrassed for a weekend. That's just what you have to do. Just tread water, avoid being embarrassed, and avoid being punked, and just keep yourself steady as you've been throughout this rough stretch to start the year.
Well, and speaking of that, Shu, don't look now, but they won 3 series in a row. I mean, think about that. I mean, yeah, it's the Angels and the White Sox, but the Nationals they'd won 8 out of 10 games with them going back into DC, and they pretty much took care of business. And I love the approach, taking care of business. Montgomery thrown tonight, former D-back. I forgot all about this guy, Shu. Taijuan Walker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I
love Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, but Montgomery, the last 2 games, what did he throw twice? 2 weeks or last week? I mean, he is really, I think, starting to get it. I always call it his land legs underneath him, his off-speed pitches, his slider. Ball was down. He looked really good, especially the last outing. Looked really, really good. So I'm hoping that he's starting to get back up to speed while you have the usual suspects filling in until Zach Gallen gets back and Merrill Kelly gets back and Erod on top of everything.
Oh, you need Jordan Montgomery to be a stable hand in that rotation. We've talked about it for weeks here on the show, that with the 3 guys that are on the shelf, you need to be able to count on more than just 2 starters, right? You need guys that are able to take the ball and go into the 6th and 7th innings. And that's why what Ryan Nelson did the other day is so crucial. This is one of the guys that you're asking to pick up the slack with all of the injuries, and he goes out there and gives you 7 innings in a crucial contest. Jordan Montgomery, I think what you're seeing with him is there are some starts he's going to go out there and he's going to look like the guy that you paid $26 million. And there's other times he looks like a guy that you want to DFA and you don't want him in the rotation. But unfortunately, they just need to stick with him and hope that he can figure it out and get some consistency in the second half. Manuch, you and I talked before the show. We have our daily phone call where we kind of just check in and make sure everything's good for the show. And you said to me, this team's playing well. The break's coming at a bad time. And my response to you was, no, I think the break is coming at a great time because this team, health is their nemesis right now. I don't think it's poor play. The bats are starting to turn a corner. They're getting enough starting pitching. The bullpen is finding ways to get outs. Health is their big nemesis. Health has been their kryptonite. So if you can tell me that they're going to have an entire week off where guys don't have to do a whole lot, they can potentially get healthy, those are the things that are going to matter because, guys, we could very easily be talking about a team that does a reverse of what they did last year. Off to a great start last year. Second half was brutal. The first half this year, not great, not what we expected. If they can get healthy and the bats can continue to do what they're doing, we could see a reverse and see a really good second half.
Hey, we're going to catch up with Steve Peters from Edmonton, our hockey extraordinaire, the former Coyotes assistant coach. The reason why I bring that up now is he'll join us from Edmonton, and he's going to have to go back and forth. I'd love to see a Game 7, but just this broke, Shu just let us know as we were coming on the air that Craig Morgan has just informed us that the Arizona State Land Department, which was scheduled for next Thursday, the 27th, has been canceled. And Jax, is that all that we pretty much have from Craig Moore? It's been canceled, has been postponed.
Yeah, it's been canceled. Cancelled. Canceled. It's the only thing that we've heard from Craig Morgan as of right now, and there's definitely a lot of mystery. And we love being sports radio hosts right now that we have Steve Peters there at 1:30 when this is breaking. It's just great for sports radio.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have Craig Morgan's Twitter up, and he just released a couple of minutes ago the release from the Arizona State Land Department. So I'm going to do something that you're not really supposed to do here in radio. I'm going to read something without having read it before we go on air, but this is from Craig, and I trust Craig. So here is the release from the Arizona State Land Department regarding the cancellation, as you guys mentioned. Quote, after much consideration, the Arizona State Land Department has determined that it is in the best interest of the trust to cancel the auction and reorder the steps. The Arizona State Land Department recently confirmed that the proposed arena use will require a special use permit, and as a result, we are requesting that the applicant file for and receive a special use permit prior to the auction. This affords the applicant and the Arizona State Land Department certainty that the applicant can build what it intends to build for its anchor tenant. It is not uncommon for the Arizona State Land Department to require applicants to secure zoning use permits prior to auction. We understand the delay in an auction is a disappointment for our applicant and members of the public, but the change in timing is the prudent decision for the trust. Arizona State Land Department remains open to working with our applicant to bring the land forward to auction in the future if a special use permit is received, end quote. So guys, what this means is that the Arizona State Land Department was concerned that Alex Morello was not going to get the zoning approval that he needed in order to build on that land. And so they are giving him a potential out card here and say, listen, you want this land? You better show us. You better bring the proof. It's like bring your homework. You better show us that you're able to build on this before we put this up for auction.
Yeah, that's exactly. I had my commercial real estate hat on, Shu, as you were reading all that, and basically is saying that that current zoning would not fit for what he wants to do. And you're right. If you're going to bid on this, and you're going to go ahead and take this, we want to make damn sure that you're not just buying this for whatever reason. Now, the other bidders are probably retail, hotel, maybe multifamily guys. The zoning's in place for them. I can't imagine any of the other bidders or somebody steps up that would also want to go ahead and build an arena on it. Now, that might be. But if the Coyotes, if Alex Morello wants to step up, they go get the special use permit, we'll hold off for a period of time. And you're right. I got to tell you, now this gives them an out to say, see, folks, I want to build a stadium. They just won't let me do it. I got to go do this, this, and this. Well, of course, that's part of zoning. That's part of some of the things. And there's been many properties out there that were zoned for commercial that a lot of guys bought over the years, wanted to build homes on them or apartments, but they got to downzone it and go get new permits and go get new zoning on it. So it's very intriguing that this happened 1 week or less than a week prior to all this going on. And why would the Coyotes not understand that they're going to have to do that? Why is this a surprise by the Arizona State Land Trust to give this to the Coyotes? And if they've been in discussion with them, are there any other T's we got to cross or I's we have to dot before we go make the bid? Because when you go make a bid on a piece of property and you're going to spend all that money, you got to know for sure, got to be ironclad that you're going to be able to do what you want to do with that property. And obviously somebody, I hate to say this, dropped the ball in reference to not having this all done pretty much from that standpoint.
The other thing I would add 2 minutes, which is the Arizona State Land Department could have very easily just gone through with this next week. Listen, Alex Morello, you don't have your paperwork. We're going on without you. Sorry. But we've got an opportunity to make a lot of money for the state. Somebody's interested in developing on this land. You didn't do your job. We're going to move on. So the fact that they canceled, and in the statement, they said they are very much open to putting this back up for auction if the applicant, they're clearly talking about Alex Morello, if he brings the proper paperwork, tells me that they're still interested in Alex Morello owning this land. Sure. This is not, they could have forged on with this next week and said, sorry, Alex, we're moving on without you. So he can't just walk away from this now because the Arizona State Land Department gave him an out to go do what he needs to do. If he walks away from this after saying, we're going to be at the auction, we're going to win the auction, I'm bringing my checkbook. If now after the cancellation, he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, it's just going to make him even more of a pariah than he's already been in this town.
Stay tuned. We'll catch up with Steve Peters from Edmonton here at 1:30. Hey, bet the game, watch the game. The Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. They have 3 live betting windows and 6 self-service betting kiosks, plus 8 screens displaying all the betting lines. Check it out for yourself. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Well, coming up, it's our Document Solutions Play of the Day. Back Friday. That's all next on Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910, right here live from Wright Toyota, and now on 99.9 HD3. Have a good, as we speak to you.
A team with the largest company in the state, All City Towing. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service personnel. Enjoy benefits like the state's most advanced towing equipment, set work schedules, a healthy 401k, employer match, health benefits, employer-paid life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Ready to take your career to the next level? Visit us at All City Towing, where your future is the move. It's the best game. Here, it's bigger games and bigger fight nights. And what else can fun comes clutch for day to let nothing. Weeks, the number one card.
The Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westworld. Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. This year, escape indoors to 72 degrees. Stay red, light, and cool. The games for the whole family. Don't miss Bad Favorite Copper State Radio Company Bowl Ride, Mountain Busting for kids, and more. Check out the second annual Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers Summer Slider Eating Contest Championship. Full of fun and games like musical chairs, cakewalks, and more on the main stage. Presented by Wright Toyota and Honda, of course. Everybody's favorite backyard barbecue by M Culinary Concepts. The presentation of colors in the national anthem. The 5th annual Parade of Heroes, outstanding leaders in 6 categories. It's the Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westworld 12 News and Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. It's now at Scottsdale4th.com. Presented by R Entertainment and M Culinary Concepts.
Any car dealer can compete on price. That's what dealers do, but not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction like Wright Toyota. The right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale, just off 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and online at wrightoyota.com.
Sports fans, celebrate every big game with El Bandito Yankee, an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% blue Weber agave in the highlands of Jalisco. Their certified additive-free Blanco and Reposado feature a unique oxygenation process for a rich smoothness without that tequila burn. That's why they won platinum and gold medals and are now listed as one of the world's top tequilas by Rolling Stone. Head over to your local store, favorite bar, or restaurant. Enjoy BanditoYankee.com and break out the Bandito with the official tequila day.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
Get out of the heat and play at Dukes. Dukes on Miller and McDowell. A huge new game room with foosball, pool table, shuffleboard, darts, and pop and shove basketball.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
3 10-foot TV screens and dozens more big screens. You find every game you're looking for. Dukes on Miller and McDowell. Voted best bar by New Times.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
3 huge patios on the greenbelt, all doggy friendly.
Dukes, Miller and McDowell. Shut
The sweet feelings of summer. The kiss of warm sun on your skin. The softly singing breeze blowing through the trees. Don't worry, you have Off Clean Feel, fragrance-free mosquito repellent that feels good on skin, so even mosquitoes can't ruin those sweet feelings of summer. Off Clean Feel. Prevention is the best protection from mosquitoes.
Time set all these play of the day, courtesy of Document Solutions, leading the value of business solutions for copier and IT service. Their service can't be copied. 623-252-8282. Now let's get to the play of the day.
That's right. It is our Document Solutions Play of the Day. First, I want to get started with this Diamondbacks team, who's now won 3 series in a row. Didn't start off too rough. But the bottom of the 3rd inning, the Nationals get on the board first. Lane Thomas goes deep. Thank you, MASN.
Thomas does get something to try. Deep left center. Later. Lane Thomas. 4th homer on the home stand. 8th on the year. And it's amazing what happens when you get into a count.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, the Diamondbacks, you look at the Nelson did an outstanding job. But the guy that had the day, that's 2 for 4, had one of those good days, who's played very, very well for this Diamondback team, Randall Grichuk, 2-run double in the top of the 4th as they take the lead 3-1.
you know, wherever the ball's going to hit, you have a chance.
It's Grichuk.
Line and fair. It's headed for the corner. Newman's home. We'll see how fast Barnhart can run. They're going to wave him around third. He will score. Randall Grichuk drives in 2, and it's 3-1 Diamondbacks.
Got to tell you what, that young man is playing good baseball. And then last but not least, to kind of top it all off for the Diamondbacks, Christian Walker's solo home run in the top of the ninth to make it 5-2 and pretty much put the cherry on top the Sunday.
Walker sends it deep to left field. Christian Walker, goodbye. There's a tack-on run. Walker's 17th, and it's 5-2.
Well, he got the slider out over the plate. This is where he likes to extend his arms. And this time he didn't miss it.
Again, thank you to MLB Network. Again, Christian Walker making a play, moving himself up as far as all-star voting is concerned at first base. You know, we were talking about the hiring of J.J. Redick yesterday, and there's a little bit more, I guess, background on this in reference to how long that the L.A. Lakers have been talking to him. And we had talked about this a little bit yesterday, that there was some rumblings out in front of the Dan Hurley story per se, that they were pretty much talking with him while courting Dan Hurley. Here's Adrian Wojnarowski. He talks about the Laker hiring and kind of a little bit of a background. Thank you here to ESPN.
Rob Pelinka was in Chicago for the pre-draft combine in mid-May, and that's where he had his first kind of get-to-know-you conversation with J.J. Redick. Not really an interview, but more sit-down, about 90 minutes, talking basketball, but not a formal interview. But that was the place where the conversation with UConn's Dan Hurley really started to gain traction. Rob Pelinka talked with Dan Hurley in Chicago back in mid-May, and that really set him even more aggressively on course to try and hire Dan Hurley. It took a few weeks before they could get Hurley to come out, visit where he was taking the potential offer even more seriously. Ultimately, he turned that job down. I guess it was early last week. And then the Lakers went back to J.J. Redick, who Pelinka had been intrigued with from the start. He had been certainly somebody he identified with, that he thought, like a lot of other people in the league, executives, owners, thought had a chance to be a high-level NBA head coach.
So it's interesting that Pelinka was talking to J.J. Redick way back, as we talked about at the combine, and then got into first more serious discussions with Dan Hurley. So a lot of reports that were out there were about J.J. Redick. It wasn't so much about Dan Hurley. That's why so many of us went, wait a second. I thought J.J. Redick was kind of the guy, the flavor of the moment out there at the combine, but all in part was, yes, it was, but he wanted to get into, Pelinka wanted to get into more so with Dan Hurley.
Yeah, this feels very similar, guys, to, I'll use a fishing analogy. You go out and you take the boat out, and you know that in the lake that you're fishing in, man, there's a bunch of just, small fishes, right? There's a bunch of fishes. You can get the fish that you're looking for to be able to cook for dinner. But you hear the stories about the big fish. And the big fish is out there, but you just don't know if you can reel it in. And so Rob Pelinka goes to the combine, takes the boat out, and he talks to J.J. Redick, one of the smaller fish. You like those fish.
Sure.
You want those fish. But that's the fish you're currently casting your line for. But then you hear through the grapevine, oh, the big fish is over there, and the big fish might be interested. And so, yeah, okay, we got the small fish, but that's the big fish. And you go after the big fish, and you cast the line for the big fish, and you do everything you can to get the big fish, and the big fish says, nah, I'm uninterested. Then you go back to the small fish because the small fish are always going to be there. That's what this feels like happened with Rob Pelinka and the Lakers. They were interested in J.J. Redick, but then they heard rumors of, hey, Danny Hurley might actually be interested in this. And when Danny Hurley might actually be interested in this, you stop everything and you explore that option and you see if he is truly interested. And then when that didn't work out, they pivoted back to what was one of their options from the get-go.
Sure, I like that. Can I add to your analogy a little bit? They had Dan Hurley, the big fish, hooked as they're reeling him in. he got off the hook.
Well, was he on? Wait, I don't know if he was actually on the hook. See, that's where maybe the analogy we can have a debate. I don't know if he was ever on the hook because they flew him out there, and the contract they put in front of him, it wasn't really that great.
So they did reel in one J.J. Redick.
Yeah, and they thought he had him at first, being Dan Hurley. But I think for J.J. Redick, I don't think he takes offense to the fact that they went after Dan Hurley first and then fell back on J.J. Redick. I think it's going to be real interesting, the timing of him and LeBron doing the Mind the Game podcast, of them just talking X's and O's. I think it's going to be something fun to see. But I think for Lakers fans and for NBA fans, we saw Steve Kerr get in a role with the Warriors take a little bit of time, won championships. Derek Fisher, when he took that job with the Knicks, didn't work out. So I just think for Lakers fans, take some time, be patient with J.J. Redick, but not too much time, as we know LeBron's career is starting to come to
for
an
both
end.
of you guys, did Dan Hurley catch you off guard as far as the Lakers going after Dan Hurley, where J.J. Redick was front and center, or maybe not another assistant coach from that ilk from that particular standpoint?
I think it being a larger market, I think him being a big name, probably the best coach in all of basketball right now, are certainly up there. I think they definitely wanted to go for it. Having LeBron, all of the hype around the Lakers every single year. I mean, they're a big brand. It definitely caught everyone off guard, but the result of it, I'm not shocked by. What did you think about Dan Hurley and the Lakers?
No, listen, it wasn't necessarily that much of a surprise. We know he had NBA aspirations. He talked about after winning the national championship that he wouldn't really entertain another college coaching job while he was at UConn. But if the NBA came calling, he would have to answer that phone call. So he was very open about that. And that was when the Kentucky rumors were kind of swirling around him of would he go take that job? And he said, listen, if I was going to take that job, I wouldn't be doing media availability right now. But if the NBA called, it's a different story. So I'm not surprised that teams maybe back channeled their way to see if he was interested. And when you talk about marquee franchises in sports, the Lakers are one of the marquee of the marquee. And so if a marquee franchise is interested in talking to you, I think you would be stupid to not at least sit down and talk to them. Whether or not he was ever interested in actually taking the job and moving his family from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I think a lot has been made about that, guys, but everything about Danny Hurley has been East Coast, where he grew up, where he played basketball, where he started his coaching career. His college coaching career has been all on the East Coast. He is East Coast basketball. That's who Danny Hurley is. So it was going to take a blockbuster over-the-top offer. And let's be honest, guys, the reported number was 6 years, $70 million.
Yeah.
That's not blowing away the top coach in college. That wasn't a $20 million a year contract that we thought he might be making. And so I think it was easy for him to turn it down when that was the number that was put in front of him.
Is it time for all-in-one wireless printer with tons of connectivity options? What you have to do is call Document Solutions of the Valley. Call them at 623-252-8282. That's 623-252-8282. And get yourself or business a new all-in-one printer right now. You can buy, lease, or even rent many makes and models that work on all smartphones. Again, call 623-252-8282. Document Solutions of the Valley. Our service can't be copied. As for our good buddy, Greg Haas. Well, the Edmonton Oilers have forced a Game 6. Chance they force a Game 7 back in Florida. Well, former Coyotes assistant coach Steve Peters joins us next from Edmonton. Also, he'll give us what he knows about the land auction being canceled that was supposed to come up here next Thursday. It's Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B, Jackson Manuch out here right Toyota on Fox Sports 910.
Clear. What's trending on Fox Sports 910 Phoenix?
The D-backs take on the Phillies for the first time since last season's NLCS. Jordan Montgomery gets the ball. Meanwhile, Suns backup center Drew Eubanks is declining his player option to return to the team. He will become a free agent. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray recently spoke on rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. K1 said Harrison's arrival takes the offense to another level. And Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals hits the ice as the Panthers get a third shot to hoist the cup, while the Oilers hope to continue their improbable comeback with a third straight win on their home ice. The game airs right here on Fox Sports 910 at 5 p.m. I'm Drew Allen on Fox Sports 910. Available everywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
Need an all-in-one wireless copier and printer or IT help for your business? Call Document Solutions of the Valley, the official copier and IT solutions company for Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Document Solutions is leading the Valley in business solutions for copier and IT service. They'll support your business no matter how big or small. Take advantage of either buying, leasing, or renting many makes and models of copiers. For a free quote, call 623-252-8282. Of the Valley.
installed or a TV monitor, contact AC Electrical Family at acelectricalfamily.com. Call 602-577-1392. That's acelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote now. AC Electrical Family. Power up with the best.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Beat the heat with a patio misting system from Fogco. Let Fogco design the perfect misting system for your patio, pool, or leisure areas. Stay cool all summer with Fogco patio misters. Get a free quote at fogco.com. That's FOGCO.com. Fogco, serving the Valley for over 35 years.
In the fast lane of life, your fuel should keep up. Time to check out G2G protein bars, your ultimate grab-and-go meal replacement. Whether it's a workday, gym session, or navigating daily chaos, G2G has got you covered. Find them now at your local Costco in the refrigerated section, or explore all 8 fantastic flavors at G2GBar.com. Great tasting protein. Keep pace with life in the fast lane with G2G.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Derek Jeter as the pinch hitter for your baseball team.
Jeter, you're in. We need a home run.
I'll give it a try. I've swung a bat once or twice.
That's out of here. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports, presented by Elf Cosmetics and Elf Skin. This year's WNBA All-Star Game on July 20th will feature an All-Star squad versus the Olympic-bound U.S. Women's National Team, which could make for some fun matchups. For instance, Connecticut Sun star DeWanna Bonner is projected to make the All-Stars and would face off against current Sun teammate and fiance Alyssa Thomas of the Olympic squad. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts. It comes to women in cosmetics. He is all about leveling
him about the drop that we have of him.
Elf is one of them.
But he also said that he's going to give you what he knows, but he doesn't obviously know a ton
diverse. Learn more
about
at
the land.
elfbeauty.com.
Time to talk puck.
Yeah, I'm going to play this. I have a cut here of McDavid talking, and then I'll play his drop.
NHL coach Steve Peters. Coach Petey now talking puck on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeart Radio app.
About how kind of the energy of the moment that you're going to be in can maybe compensate for any fatigue that you might have this deep into the playoffs, just the excitement.
No, there's no fatigue.
So just hold at the end of the clip so I can play the soundbite.
2 days in between games, so there's no real fatigue there. And yeah, it's exciting. Exciting to be back in Edmonton. Excited to play in front of our fans, play in this building, and
I just don't want to go. I'm home.
Well, Connor McDavid, and then you heard that at the very end. Our next guest, Steve Peters, the former assistant coach of the Arizona Coyotes, just did not want to go back up to Edmonton. He was pleading to go back home. I think he might have jinxed himself. So we got Steve Peters up in Edmonton joining us now on the right Toyota guest line. Steve, it's Manuch alongside with Jax and Shu. Man, you're logging a lot of miles. What have you logged? About 95,000 miles so far right now?
Yeah, I tell you what, I think we're hitting the 10,000 mile mark right now over the last 14 days. I'm tired. So he says there's no fatigue. Is he out of his mind? I'm not playing. I'm exhausted, like uncle. Like I'm tired.
And before we get into the whole land auction thing, what have you, I just want to get your thoughts on the last game as far as we talked about this, the athleticism, the skating. I mean, they scored 3 straight goals. What was that, like 8-9 goals in a row from the 8-1 shellacking they had the game before?
Yeah, you know what's different right now? And then in game 5, it was all about the special teams. They won differently. They couldn't get through the neutral zone. They couldn't get that speed game going. Edmonton is surprising me at every turn at how they're winning in different ways. And they're back in their home building now. So I hate to say it. Are we going 7 games?
Well, you know what? I would love to see it. But to that vein, in reference to the, moving on from that particular standpoint, Connor McDavid, we hit this yesterday about the records he's already set throughout the playoffs and the potential records he's going to break throughout the playoffs. Now, one of those is by Wayne Gretzky. How apropos would that be, him breaking a record with the team that Gretzky came from? But I guess we read there's 4 or 5 where he's leading all time, and there may be 2 more he may break if it goes 7 games, Steve?
Yeah, the biggest one he's trying to chase down right now is the most points in one.
Hey, Manuch, I've got something.
Season right now, and he's 5 short right now with 2 games to go. He has 4 points in each of his last 2 games, so 5 points over 2 is definitely not unattainable by Connor McDavid, and this would be an unbelievably great feat, especially in this era. Like, you look at when Wayne Gretzky played back in the 80s, you're talking about the goal differential was much higher, and the goaltenders aren't what they are today. So for Connor McDavid to be even mentioned in that breath right now is absolutely amazing.
Steve, I have a very interesting question for you, because I think when the series is 3-0, there is pressure to not get swept if you're Edmonton. And then at 3-1, there is pressure to just potentially extend the series. Now where we sit going into this game tonight, is there more pressure on Florida or is there more pressure on Edmonton?
I think the pressure has shifted back and forth throughout this series. I do think that game 4 with Florida having the opportunity to sweep, I think Edmonton just came out and played. They're like, hey, we got nothing to lose here. Let's just go play and have fun at home. You go back to Florida, the pressure's all on Florida. You're at home. You have to win at home. You don't want to go back to Edmonton. I think that's shifted now. I think the weight is squarely on the Edmonton Oilers now. Back at home, the expectations are in this city and this country, for that matter, is they expect the Edmonton Oilers to win. I think there's a lot of pressure tonight on the Edmonton Oilers to perform at home. And I'm curious to see how their goaltender, Stuart Skinner, responds to that kind of pressure. He struggled early in the playoffs. He's been great over the last 3 games. We'll see how he does on the biggest stage at home tonight.
Steve Peters, PHNX Hockey, joins us here on the Right Toyota guest line, Fox Sports 910. Steve, what's been the biggest difference, I guess, what's changed with Florida these past 2 games versus the previous 3? And I guess if you were the head coach for Florida and you were in that locker, what would you say to kind of flip the tide as it's starting to become panic mode for the Florida Panthers?
I think in game 4, they just were off their game. I don't think they played well in game 4. Game 5, you saw a lot of the things that Florida did well, they did again. They were tough on the forecheck. They controlled the play during the neutral zone. They were good. The biggest difference between games 1, 2, 3 and game 4 and 5 was Bob Roski. And Bob Roski, who was talked about as the MVP of the playoffs in games 1 through 3, has kind of fallen off the map in games 4 and 5. He struggled in those games. He's given up more goals in 2 consecutive games than he has the entire season this year. He has to be better. If he isn't better tonight, not only will they not win tonight, but they're in danger of losing that 3-0 lead. So I think Bob Roski is the key player to look for to see if he looks sharp through this first period.
Set the scene there at the Rogers Arena. I'm sure you're there front and center. You're right there in the ESPN truck. What's going on? Is everybody and their mother pretty much? Is the entire town of Edmonton out there in front getting ready to go in the arena?
It's absolutely insane. The feeling in this city compared to what we saw in Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, it's not even close. Like this Edmonton town, it's a small big town, and you cannot go anywhere in this town without somebody talking about the Edmonton Oilers. And from every shop, hotel, restaurant, bar, I was in any flight you take, it's covered with Connor McDavid jerseys. This town is rallying behind this team, and I tell you what, after game 4, when they won, the streets were flooded with people and honking horns. I can't imagine what the city of downtown Edmonton's going to look like if they're able to win this one in game 6.
He's Steve Peters. He is ESPN hockey analyst. He breaks the film down for PHNX_sports. Joining us here on the Right to the guest line. All right, Steve, the news that broke at the top. Shu alerted us right at the beginning in reference to the land auction, which was supposed to, that's right, folks, supposed to take place Thursday, the 27th, has been canceled. Main Roost here, Craig Morgan broke the story that it looks like the Arizona State Land Trust would love to have a special use permit to make sure what the counties want to do if they win the bid to be able to do that arena, because currently it's not zoned for that particular use. Now, she had a chance to break it down on the air. We read the State Land Trust release, what they're having to say. My commercial real estate hat that I had for many, many years, Steve, tells me that if they win the bid, they don't want any other hurdles as far as that deal getting closed and making sure the Yotes, if they decide, can build that arena? How'd you interpret that?
Yeah, well, the biggest problem we talked about, and this was a few weeks ago after the Morellos met with the mayor of Phoenix, and there was some issue over the zoning, and there was some interpretation open to what that actual meant on building a multi-use facility like a hockey arena there, and it was murky at best, but they said they would not clarify it until after the land was purchased. So if I'm Morello, I can't buy the land if I don't know if I'm going to be able to build a building on it. So I just think this is everybody stepping back. Morello's, why would you buy the land if you can't build an arena? So I think this is just trying to get clarification on the zoning for that land, and to make sure that if Morello does buy the land and purchase and win the auction, that he in fact has the correct zoning permits so that he can build an arena. It makes sense. The problem, as it always has been when it comes around the Arizona Coyotes, is it just pushes that timeline out again, because this isn't just postponed, this is canceled. And so what does that mean? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months? Things move very slowly in real estate and in government. So this is a huge concern in this timeline with Alex Morello and this land in North Phoenix.
Let me throw another angle at you guys as well, too, having dealt with this for 10 years in cities. City of Phoenix right now might be having a little heartburn of putting an arena there. It may not be the best use for that property, the most value they can get. The property is worth X. Now, what the city's looking for is something that works, that fits with tax dollars. Are they going to get the tax dollars back to the city with an arena and the functions versus more retail, more commercial, more apartments? You see what I'm saying, Steve? So that's why the city, that's why the state land trust said, wait a second, y'all need to get it figured out, or we're not going to have this. Otherwise, we'll sit on it. And if we do another bid and we got regular developers that don't want, then we'll open it back up. That's another angle I look at from this.
Yeah, and here's an interesting thing, too. Like Craig Morgan, you mentioned his reporting earlier. He reached out to the Coyotes and he just tweeted this to see if Morello is still going to move forward in this process. And they had no comment at this time. They're still absorbing the most recent news. I said this last week. I said, I'm not even convinced Morello is going to show up at this auction. That was more to do with the not guaranteeing of the zoning of that land. I don't know if this might give him the out he's been looking for. This might be his path to take his money and run. This might be, hey, you didn't lose the auction. There just wasn't an auction. And I thought that he's been looking for that back door out for a while now. This might be it. So I don't want to get Coyotes fans sitting there that their team is dead and they're never coming back. I just think that the Morello era may be coming to an end. This literally may be the last straw, and he's just going to take his money and ride off into the sunset.
All right, so as we let you go, how do you look? Game 6 tonight. I mean, that airplane's warming up there, Steve Peters. How do you see this bad boy playing out there in Rogers Arena?
Okay, I'm going to change this because I've been on your show between game 4 and 5, and I said Florida's going to win for sure. Edmonton won. So I'm going all in on Edmonton tonight. Edmonton's going to win, and we're off to game 7. And let's see if that changes my karma. Actually, the truth is, I think that this is all going to come down to two things. This is going to come down to Connor McDavid versus Bobrovsky. And whoever gets the first goal in the series in each game, it's been a very pivotal goal, even more so tonight. I think if Florida can hold off and keep this 0-0 or have a lead after the first period, I think the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup here in Edmonton. But I don't know if that's going to happen. If Edmonton scores in the first 10 minutes, the roof is going to blow off this building, and I expect Edmonton Oilers to roll again.
Does your wife know who you are? Have you seen her like the last 2 weeks at all? I mean,
I am. By the way, you know how big of a doghouse I'm going to need? Because if it goes 7, I fly home the 25th and I go to the draft on the 25th in Las Vegas. I want to be home for 24 hours. Like, I don't know. My stuff might be out in the driveway when I get home. I'm not sure.
That's
fingers
great.
Crossed.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, hey, thanks so much. By the way, if they win tonight, is game 7 Sunday or Monday?
It is Monday night,
okay.
Live from Sunrise on Monday, and I hope I get to talk to you guys again on Monday.
All right, buddy. Hey, I appreciate your time. Good luck there, and we're hoping for a game 7. And just 3 months from now, after you're out of the doghouse, your wife still might like you. We don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right, but that's Steve Peters, former Coyotes assistant coach. Excuse me. That is what he does. He's like a telestrator for ESPN. So he's in the truck and he pulls out the plays that are important, some of the finer nuances. But that'll be game 6 tonight. I think the puck drops at
Real quick.
5 o'clock. Yes, you.
Did you see what he did there, though? He was smart. He finally figured it out. He's been on the show a bunch, and he's constantly got it wrong. So he purposely predicted the wrong thing. He purposely predicted the thing he doesn't believe because he knows the reverse is going to happen because he does not want to get on a plane to Sunrise, Florida. It took him until game 6, but he figured it out.
That game, they'll drop the puck at 5 o'clock. That'll be on ABC and ESPN Plus.
Yeah, it's real interesting to see what he said about this could be Murillo's last straw and him leaving like that. And we talked before the show, and we both said how we weren't big fans of Murillo just because of him not being there for that last Mullet Arena game and him kind of taking the easy way out. It seems like yet again he's taking the easy way out and making an excuse out of this.
And guys, and I'll say this: I'm surprised that he had to have known. He had to have known the city talking this. So you would have to get a special use permit to go ahead and do what you want to do because the zoning does not call for an arena. So he can't plead ignorant on this because if you're going to develop a property like they did with the city of Tempe, they had all their P's and Q's in line. They had all their T's crossed, their I's dotted. They were battened down when that went to a vote. So they were ready to go. The city was for it. Everything was in alignment. I don't understand why this wasn't in alignment, if you know what I'm talking. Why would you not have your special use permit? Why would you not have this? Why would you not have all the above? And this is like the state's going, wait a second. If y'all can't get it figured out, that means Murillo in the city, then at that point, then we're not going to go forward and sell it to you, not having, because we don't want this coming back to us.
Here's the other problem, guys. Alex Murillo's background is in real estate. So you can't claim that you don't know how zoning works.
Yes.
You can't claim to not know how you have to operate with state and local governments. You can't claim that you don't know how this stuff works. What's interesting to me, guys, and we've talked about this so many times when it comes with Alex Murillo and the Coyotes, the timeline just doesn't add up here. You go on local sports radio and you talk about how we're going to get the special zoning. We're going to meet with the local government. I'm bringing my checkbook. We're going to win the auction. We're going to keep the team here. And now all of a sudden, a week before this thing pops up again and they cancel the state land auction because you don't have the special use permit. You've been talking about zoning and getting the special zoning for months now.
Yep.
We remember the conversation we had, what was it, 3 or 4 weeks ago, where the city of Phoenix came out with a statement that they had a meeting. So you've known this has been going on since you wanted this land. So to me, if he's looking for this as a reason for the back door to not have to continue this process, he's going about it in the worst PR way possible because he's talked about this publicly.
Amen. I hear you. I feel you. And I think you're exactly it. Coming up, it's our Football 50. Roc and Manuch. Jimmy be right here on Fox Sports 910 live from Wright Toyota.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail and the reward of a custom fitting taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by 2 words said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Vans Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Life's a sprint. Need G2G protein bars. Grab and go fuel for the office, links, and daily grind. Score an 8-pack at Costco or explore flavors at G2GBar.com. Quick, delicious, power-packed G2G protein bars. Setting your pace.
A homeowner just like you.
Hey.
Decides to fix his roof.
Okay.
He backs up his truck, ties one end of the rope to the bumper and the other to himself.
Smart.
He's working on the backside of the roof until...
What? Wait, no.
Yes, Dad was in tow.
Ooh, was he hurt?
A few bruises and his pride.
Save yourself with State 48 Roofing, offering maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Of course, licensed, insured, and bonded. From residential to commercial. State48roofing.com.
Upper Crust Pizza and Patio Wine Bar on the southeast corner of Cave Creek and the 101. Happy hour 7 days a week, 4 to 7, with $5.50 house wines and well drinks, $4.75 drafts, plus tons of food specials. Upper Crust Pizza and Patio Wine Bar.
Investing in a high-quality misting system from Fogco will be the coolest decision you ever make for your home patio, pool area, or commercial property. Frogco, the Valley's original manufacturer of high-pressure fog systems, is one of the pioneers in the misting industry for over 35 years. Let Frogco transform your outdoor living and entertainment areas into a cool and soothing tropical showcase. If you're looking for quality, reliability, and value, get a free quote at Frogco.com. That's FOGCO.com.
Life hack number 7. Get an iPhone 12 on Straight Talk.
Life hack.
Here's how it works. You walk into Walmart, go to the electronics section, ask for iPhone 12 with 5G and a dual camera system, and select the new Silver Unlimited plan. They'll smile because it's a good plan. You get real unlimited data all for just $20 a month for the whole first year. Get it at Walmart or StraightTalk.com. Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Taxes and fees apply. Requires activation of iPhone 12 and a new Silver Unlimited plan or higher end auto pay enrollment. $25 a month service credit applied for up to 12 months if eligibility requirements are met. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com.
Caesars Rewards at Harrah's Auction Casino in Maricopa is your sure bet for getting the best local perks. Plus, with Caesars Rewards, you can play locally at Harrah's and redeem your reward credits for hotel stays and more at over 50 Caesars destinations in your favorite cities across the country, like Vegas, Lake Tahoe, New Orleans, and beyond. Sign up, play, and earn rewards at Harrah's Auction. Must be 21 or older to gamble. No one to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Visit harrahsauction.com for details.
Now back to the Roc and Manuch Show, live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the selection, and always right on the price. Wright Toyota, 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale, and online at wrighttoyota.com.
Let's get ready for football!
It's Football at 50, the latest top football story trending this hour. Right here with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeart Radio app.
Welcome back to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Dan Manuch alongside Jackson Groff. We got Chris Schubert back at the iHeart Studios. Little football at 50. Well, Trevor Lawrence signed a mega deal. Would you not say, Jax? The biggest
Maybe
deal.
too much?
Well, a little bit. It's interesting because you think of, you can garner up any excuse why you would sign that big deal. Well, we heard directly from Trevor Lawrence. He wanted to sign this deal, be there for a long, long time, hopefully win a championship or two, but the man got paid. Here's Trevor Lawrence credit Jacksonville Jaguars.
We wanted to be here long term. Obviously, it's a place we love to live in, and we know that because we've had some good and some bad times as far as football goes. So it's we've kind of experienced both, and we love being here either way. And obviously, the way the organization's going and the direction that we're heading on the football side, that makes it obviously a no-brainer for us. Is we're heading in the right direction, and I want to be the quarterback here. I want to bring a championship to Jacksonville. That's my goal, and I really know that we can accomplish that. So I'm excited for that, and it just pairs up to where we happen to love living here too. So
I got to tell you what, talk about a little pressure on him, right? I mean, you're making $50-some million a year. You really haven't earned it, or really haven't had the value of that. Taking to the playoffs one time, really struggled last year, injured a little bit. So I would say this: you're going to keep him for a long time to make this square peg in a round hole. I would certainly hope, in reference to this whole thing moving forward.
Yeah, and it's not that he didn't earn it, but it's one of those contracts that, did he deserve it now? Maybe we could have waited another
Probably
year
a good point
to get more playoff wins, a more deserving season. But for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, you kind of think, well, what other options would they have? Do they go lean on Mac Jones that they signed? Do they go back in the draft and get somebody? But I agree with what Trevor Lawrence has said and how they're building this team with young talent. They've got a really good core of guys right now, and you solidify your quarterback for the future is one thing, but it's going to cost them down the line if they want to sign some of those role players. It's going to be tough for the Jaguars to be able to sign guys like Josh Allen or keep Christian Kirk for a long period.
Speaking of signing guys, don't look now, folks. The New England Patriots, they're turning the corner. Ramondre Stevenson, running back for the Patriots, reached an agreement with the team on a 4-year extension worth $36 million. Which includes $17 million fully guaranteed. The extension continues in the offseason theme for the Patriots under first-year executive vice president of player personnel, Elliott Wolf, and first-year head coach Gerard Mayo. Now, here's the things, folks. If you're Patriots fans, you got to love this. Running back Ramondre Stevenson, as I said, 4 years, $36 million. Safety Kyle Duggar, 40 years, $58 million. Offensive tackle Mike Nwenyu, 3 years, $57 million. How about tight end Hunter Henry, 3 years, $27 million. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, 3 years, $19.5 million.
Minutes.
And linebacker Anthony Jennings, 3 years, $12 million. They're turning the corner. Their defense should be fine this year. It's just a matter of their offense. But if you're a Patriots fan who has gone on the cheap with less and won world titles, this is huge for them to understand. We got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, and 26-year-old for Ramondre Stevenson. The Patriots are always known for running multiple running backs, and this is a guy that's solidified as their number one running back. He was a former fourth-round pick in 2021 out of Oklahoma. Kind of had a down year last year, dealt with some injuries, 619 yards, 4 touchdowns. But, a guy that's a downhill runner and a guy that will be in the organization for the next 4 years.
Yeah, and listen, we can appreciate this approach by Elliott Wolf and by Gerard Mayo with what they're doing. This all comes down to whether or not they made the right selection with Drake May. If he's good and he is a franchise quarterback that they can build around, then Wolf is going to be given the opportunity to build this roster in his image. Mayo's going to be able to coach it with the way that he wants things to work. But if Drake May isn't very good, guess what? Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo aren't going to be around long enough to be able to make that next decision. So, yeah, great that you signed Ramondre Stevenson. He's a good running back. He's going to help you. Drake May's got to be the answer. Drake May has to show enough over the first 2 or 3 years of his NFL career to give Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo the runway to build this team. Because let's be honest, guys, when Bill Belichick left and Tom Brady left, the cupboards were bare.
Yes.
This was not a team, and this is not a team currently that is supposed to compete in the AFC East. So you have to have time to be able to draft, develop, do what you want to do. All comes down to whether or not they made the right pick with Drake May.
Do a little on this day, 23 years ago, 2001, Magic Johnson got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 12 years ago in 2012, guys, the Miami Heat defeated the Oklahoma Thunder to win the NBA championship. So LeBron James' decision paid off. Now LeBron's in LA with the Lakers. And a little random fact of the day. Did you know 38% of the chocolate in the world comes from the cocoa beans from the Ivory Coast in Africa? And the average strawberry, I know you want to know this one, Jax, has around 200 seeds around it. Although technically, they aren't classified as seeds. Botanists consider them tiny, separate fruits, each with a single small seed
30.
inside. So those are your random fact of the day and on this day. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll go to Las Vegas. We'll catch up with Las Vegas handicapper Scott Spratzer of Doc Sports Doc, the latest on the NHL Finals Game 6. All of that right here as you listen to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We're out here at Wright Toyota. Hope you're having a great Friday and hope you are staying cool out
10.
there. More Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B. next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Clear.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B has been sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing.
In the market for an electric charger for your place? Looking to upgrade your under cabinet or closet lighting? Look no further than Arizona Electrical Family. From service calls to new home installations, home remodels, and even TV mounting, we've got you covered. Visit azelectricalfamily.com or call 602-577-1392 to learn more about our comprehensive services and to schedule your free quote today. Power up with the best. Visit azelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote now. AC Electrical Family, quality service you can trust.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail. And the reward of a custom fitting taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by 2 words said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Vans Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations like Freeform Radio. Search Freeform Radio and listen now on your free iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them. With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures. It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Tired of routine Walgreens trips? Get rewarded for shopping with Drop. With Drop, you can earn free gift cards on groceries, gas, and more. Download Drop now and use code DROP55 to get $5 in points. Join Drop today.
Digestive health issues can take over your entire day, leaving those like Taylor, hello, feeling bloated and uncomfortable. Hi, Taylor. I'm Ellen. How did you get into my bathroom? Never mind that. You need to try the squatty potty. The squatting position is clinically proven to increase emptiness for 85% of individuals. Much better. You can go now. Available now at Walmart and Amazon.com. You can go now.
At Charmin, we're so excited for Pride Month, we just had to sing about it.
Pride is here, and it's our duty to come together and shake our collective booty. Charmin loves fans, bodies, and everybody else. We'll help you stay clean when you need it the most.
Charmin is proud to partner with iHeartRadio for Can't Cancel Pride for the 5th year in a row. And while Pride is only a month long, our support rolls on forever. Enjoy the go and enjoy Pride with Charmin.
Broadcasting from the Rappy Law Group studio, this is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD3 Phoenix. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals hits the ice as the Panthers get a third shot to hoist the cup, while the Oilers hope to continue their improbable comeback with a third straight win on their home ice. The game airs right here on Fox Sports 9/10 at 5 p.m. Meanwhile, the D-backs take on the Phillies for the first time since last season's NLCS. Jordan Montgomery will be on the hill. Suns backup center Drew Eubanks is declining his player option to return to the team. He will become a free agent. And Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray recently spoke on rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. K1 said Harrison's arrival takes the offense to another level. I'm Drew Allen on Fox Sports 910, available everywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
This is the Parker and Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
For your Friday, another hot day with temperatures right around 114. We'll see mostly sunny skies today with some breezier conditions. Very slight chance of a thunderstorm for tonight with those overnight lows dipping into the 90s. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Ty Brennan.
This report is sponsored by London Gold. Whether it's diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, or rubies, every day at London Gold, our fine stones are up to half off your friend in the business. Shop us in store or online at londongold.com. London Gold.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B is sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing. Now back to the Roc and Manuch Show, live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the selection, and always right on the price. Wright Toyota, 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale, and online at wrighttoyota.com. Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Roc. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And always online at lernerandrow.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. On Fox Sports 910.
Welcome in hour number 2, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Dan Manucci alongside Jackson Groff out here at Wright Toyota. The top stories are also brought to you by the Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. They have 3 live betting windows and 6 self-serving betting kiosks, plus 8 screens displaying all the betting lines. Check it out for yourself. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Well, we were going to dive into the Diamondbacks a little bit, but there's been another bombshell that's pretty much dropped around, and why wouldn't it be the Arizona Coyotes? At about 1 o'clock this afternoon, right before we came on the air, Craig Morgan had reported that the Arizona State Land Trust auction, scheduled for next Thursday, June 27th, has been canceled. And the gist of it, folks, is they cancel it because they want to basically, that being the State Land Trust, make sure that the Coyotes, if they win this bid, that they in the city of Phoenix have everything pretty much worked out as far as land use, as far as zoning, as far as permits, you name it. Pretty much what they did, that being the Yotes, with the city of Tempe. Before that went to a vote, they had everything worked out with the city, the zoning, who was going to clean the site up, who was going to pay for it, that being the Coyotes. Everything was done. Everything was done. It was packaged. Now, at that point, the voters had to just pass the vote, which they didn't. So here we go with the land trust coming up here, Arizona State Land Trust coming up here next Thursday. I think the appraisal was right around $65 million. They had reported that there had been several potential bidders on this. At that number one being the Coyotes. And Shu, you'd mentioned this a little bit earlier in the last hour, that him being a commercial mogul, that being Alex Murillo, I just find it hard to believe why he wasn't as prepared to have everything in place and assure the Arizona State Land Trust, they bought this, that they had things worked out with the city of Tempe, with the zoning, with the special use permits, all of the above. And now here we are, it's canceled because those requirements, the way I read this Craig Morgan scenario, have not been met as of now.
And we talked about this. This zoning thing is not a new concept.
No, it's not.
This is not a Friday news dump that is confusing because we're hearing about something for the first time. Steve Peters has been on this show talking about whether or not they could get the zoning. Alex Murillo and the Coyotes have talked about the special zoning that they were looking to get from the city of Phoenix. The city of Phoenix talking about the meeting that they had, and they were not going to give taxpayer money. They were not going to give tax breaks to fund a stadium. We've talked about this openly in the public sphere over and over and over again. So to me, it feels like because they canceled this on a Friday the week before, it tells me that the Arizona State Land Department told Alex Murillo June 21st is going to be your deadline. You got to show us that you can have that special use permit. You've got to show us that you are able to use this land the way you want to be able to use it. And if you are unable to provide that to us by this date, we are going to cancel this land auction. That's how I feel this went down. The Arizona State Land Department put it up for auction because the Coyotes asked for it to be put up for auction so that they could build an arena. They went through the entire process. They posted it. They did all the things. Then they got to a point where they were having this back and forth. The State Land Department probably called up Alex Murillo and said, hey, man, you're going to get this special use permit. Do you have the zoning that you want? Are you going to be able to do this? Oh, yes, Arizona State Land Department. Yeah, we're going to have everything that we need. And we got closer and closer, and it never happened. And they probably at some point gave him a drop dead date. June 21st. You've got to be able to prove this to us that you're going to be able to use this the way that you want to be able to use it, or else we're canceling it. And guys, we came to that day today, not realizing that was probably what was going on behind the scenes. And the Arizona State Land Department put out a statement and said, we're canceling this. This is not happening. The applicant for this land does not have the special use permit that we've confirmed that this requires. And so we don't have it. And so we're canceling this. And now we find ourselves in another situation where the Coyotes have egg on their face. They look like idiots. They look like goofballs and punks who don't know what they're doing. And here we are talking about this team in a bad light once again.
And the other thing I could think of, the main reason why the Arizona State Land Trust wants this, because, you look at what the city of Phoenix is, they've had heartburn on this whole situation, have they not? They haven't had the water and sewer. The water and sewer is there, but you got to pull it to the side. So there's a lot of infrastructure that has to be done. Okay, that's one thing. That's a known. Alex Murillo can pretty much, he can go ahead and do that. But I'm like you, Shu. When I heard this release from Craig Morgan that these issues were not resolved, I'm like you. I am stunned. Okay, commercial real estate 101. And folks, I was in it for 10 years. Make sure you have all of your prerequisites. You have your we call it due diligence. You go do your land soils. You make sure that the land's not contaminated, like they did at Tempe. They knew that land was contaminated, and they knew it probably cost them $60 million to clean it up. They had all the numbers, had everything set in place. And for them not to have this in place, and that this is coming at the last hour, that you don't have all your zoning or special use zoning, because, guys, here's the thing. If you're going to change the zoning and have special use permits, you just don't go down and fill out an application and give it to the city of Tempe. Guess what? That's got to be voted on by the city council. They've got to vote that. Is it 7-2, 6-3, 9-zip, whatever it is? This takes time in order for them to get this done. And your point, Shu, you nailed it. This should have been done if they're truly professionals. To me, this is a half-hearted attempt to maybe go bid on this bad boy and go ahead. Maybe if we do get the bid and we can't get the permits, then maybe we develop it and the commercial we'll go retail, we'll go apartments, maybe a little light industrial. We'll do some things other than build an arena. But the State Land Trust is going, no, if you guys buy it, we want to see that you've got everything in particular so you don't hoodwink us and buy this and do something else with it.
Yeah, the State Land Department press release from today tells on itself. It gives us the timeline. In the press release, I'll read from it. The Arizona State Land Department recently confirmed that the proposed arena use will require a special use permit, and as a result, we are requesting that the applicant file for and receive a special use permit prior to the auction. They told on themselves.
Yep.
The press release tells you they learned about this. They clearly went to Alex Morello and said, you need to be able to get this. And we reached a breaking point today on Friday, June 21st, because he doesn't have that. And again, the special use permit zoning, whatever term you want to use here, has been something in the public sector. It's something we've been talking about for weeks and months now on this show and across the Arizona media landscape. This is not new. Alex Morello talked about this. Steve Peters has talked about it. Craig Morgan has talked about it. Everybody who covers this team and has covered this issue has talked about this. So this popping up on June 21st, 6 days before the auction, shouldn't surprise everybody. This is nothing new. Unfortunately, because it has been just commonplace with Alex Morello, he came up short when the deadline came due. That's what happened.
So is the only way for Arizona Coyotes fans and for the future of the Arizona Coyotes, like, is there the only way of Alex Murillo being off of the throne that he's at and being, I guess, not the owner, the GM, or whatever his title is right now, is for him to pull out? Or is there a way for the Coyotes organization to come in, replace him, and get another bidder for the land?
I mean, he's got Steve Pierce says he's got 18 months.
3 minutes.
He's got the exclusive for 18 months. He can't sell the rights. Those are his rights for right now. But I hear what you're saying. But they've also talked about they've got a couple other sites that they're looking at. So if they pass on this piece of property, basically, folks, it's at 56th Street. It's like the northwest corner of 56th Street and the 101. So if they pass on this, and for whatever reason they didn't do their homework, which obviously it sounds like, as Shu read the statement, that had to, key phrase there, folks, had to be in place before you bid this piece of property. Now, I've been a part of many bids and land auctions when I was in commercial real estate. You had to have whatever done prior to you stepping up, or they wouldn't sell it to you. So obviously, the Yotes haven't done that. But on top of that, they have mentioned or hinted at that they've got a couple other properties that they're all looking at.
2 minutes.
So to answer your question, Jax, I think it's basically, well, if they have other properties they pass on, they better go after those other properties pretty quickly.
Got some.
Because that 18 months is going to come and go, and they got to have shovels in the ground probably by this time next year.
I got a question for you guys, because I've been thinking about this ever since Steve said it, and we learned the framework of the agreement between Alex Morello and the NHL when he sold the team for them to go to Utah. He's not allowed to sell the rights, right?
Right.
That's what Steve said. That's what the NHL has said. That's probably a hedge on the NHL side so that he can't double dip and make a quick buck and not go through the process.
Sure.
But I'll ask this question to you guys. If he exhausts all of these options and we get another 6, 8, 12 months down the road and somebody comes forward and has a plan and has all the T's crossed, has all the I's dotted, and is somebody that can do this, do we really think the NHL is going to say, oh, wait a minute, Alex Morello still has these rights. He can't sell them. We told him he can't sell them. I think that's a hedge right now to make sure he can't flip this for another quick buck. But if somebody were to present themselves as the white knight that could come in and do this, and enough time has passed where Alex Morello has failed over and over again at this, I think the NHL would be open to making a deal done so that the Coyotes can be back here. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't think Gary Bettman wants this on his legacy. He doesn't want this L. He wants to be able to say that he had a hockey team here. And so I think if somebody were to come in, again, not right now, but 6, 8, 12 months down the road, and they had the plan and they had the thing, they able to do what nobody else is able to do and have everything ready to go. Do we really think the NHL is going to say, well, we told Alex Morello he couldn't sell the rights for 5 years, so we're going to say no, and he can't do it now? I don't know if that would be the case.
They would do it in a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. If whoever steps up, let's say Artie Moreno, the owner of the LA Angels, from Arizona, U of A grad, says, you know what, I'm looking to sell the Angels. So I've got a deal in place. I would love to come back here and take this on because he knows how to get it done. He's been doing it for years.
I'm good. I don't want Artie Moreno owning the team. I'm good. Angels fans are not very happy with him. I'm good.
But you see what I'm saying, though, right? A guy that's an owner, he's respected, got a gazillion dollars. But I think you're right. If that plan makes sense, here's a key phrase, guys, makes sense to Gary Bettman in the NHL, and that he can sell those rights. And and the other thing, too, let me add to that, Shu, is that if he's not seeing, that being Gary Bettman, any progress by Alex Morello and his group to move forward to the other property or to make we call it in good faith, trying to go make a deal, then he'll hold off. But if his thing falls flat on its face and Morello's got nothing to present, let's say in 2 or 3 months, or let's say in 2 or 3 weeks, then Bettman's going to go, hey, Alex, what's your game plan? Okay, obviously you dropped the ball literally on this property because you knew what you needed to do prior to the bid. You absolutely knew. So you dropped the ball. If your heart's not in it, let me know right now, and we'll do one or two things. I'll sell the rights. We'll go shop around. And if nobody wants to get into Phoenix, Arizona, or buy your rights or whatever it is, then we'll move on and go from there. So that's the only thing I can think of from that particular standpoint. Hey, if you need an electric car charger installer or a TV mounted, contact AZ Electrical Family at azelectricalfamily.com or call them at 602-577-1392. That's azelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote now. AZ Electrical Family, power up at the best. Visit azelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote now. Coming up next, it's our Learn and Row One Call. That's all, live from Wright Toyota on Fox Sports 910.
Choosing the right lawyer after a car wreck is important. You need to consider the law firm's experience, results, and reputation. Lerner Rowe stands above other law firms when it comes to experience and results, helping over 150,000 people recover billions of dollars for their injuries. When it comes to reputation, we have thousands of 5-star reviews, and year after year, we have been voted best personal injury law firm in Arizona. Call us today and let us put our experience, proven results, and reputation to work for you.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Attention drivers, drive smart, Arizona. All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing storage services contractor, reminds you to follow the move over law. When you see emergency vehicles, move over and slow down. Keep our roads safe for all. Brought to you by All City Towing.
The Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westworld, with Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. This year, escape indoors to 72 degrees and stay red, white, and cool. Fun and games for the whole family. Don't miss fan favorite Copper State Rodeo Company bull riding, mutton busting for kids, and more. Presented by Lerner and Rowe. Come check out the second annual Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers Summer Slider Eating Contest Championship. Get your fill of fun and games like musical chairs, cakewalks, and more on the main stage. Presented by Wright Toyota and Wright Honda. And of course, everybody's favorite backyard barbecue by M Culinary Concepts. See the presentation of colors in the national anthem. Plus, the 5th annual Parade of Heroes, honoring outstanding leaders in 6 categories. It's the Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westworld with 12 News and Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. Tickets now at scottsdale4th.com. Presented by R Entertainment and M Culinary Concepts.
You ever have a case of the Mondays? You won't if you tune in to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from 1 till 4 as they broadcast live from the CAZ Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar. That's every Monday from Casino, Arizona.
Investing in a high-quality misting system from Fogco will be the coolest decision you ever make for your home patio, pool area, or commercial property. Fogco, the Valley's original manufacturer of high-pressure fog systems, is one of the pioneers in the misting industry for over 35 years. Let Fogco transform your outdoor living and entertainment areas into a cool and soothing tropical showcase. If you're looking for quality, reliability, and value, get a free quote at fogco.com. That's FOGCO.com.
Looking for a bright future in renewable energy? JA Solar, a top solar panel manufacturing company in the world, is actively hiring and will have a career fair on June 22nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Discover exciting career opportunities and meet our team. Don't miss out on the chance to power your career with one of the leading solar manufacturing energy companies. Come to the career fair and shine with JA Solar. Apply online at jasolaraz.com. Stop by the career fair on June 22nd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, apply online at jasolaraz.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
It's the Lerner and Rowe. One call, that's all. Call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just
Christian Walker home run.
That's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Walker sends it deep to left field. Christian Walker, goodbye. There's a tack-on run. Walker's 17th.
You're hot.
And it's 5-2.
Christian Walker staying hot, number 17 in yesterday's 5-2 victory over the Nats. How they take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Interact, need a check, make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. And always at learnerandroad.com. They can help. Get a free consultation. Again, one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. Well, this came out about a week ago, and Jackson and I were talking, a little pregame meeting, if you will, about the top 10 offseason moves in the National Football League, whether they be free agents or draft or what have you. And Jackson, I really didn't dive into this. I kind of just heard that the Arizona Cardinals were the second.
Whoa! You can't spoil the top 10, Manuch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can't spoil the top 10.
I just was going to set you up to the one thing that stood out for me. I'm going to give you top 10.
Okay, so
that the Cardinals are in the mix with this bad boy?
So courtesy of CBS Sports, Josh Edwards, the dog days of summer during football, a lot of rankings start to come out. And he had a ranking of the top 10 NFL off seasons in 2024. So we'll start with number 10 and some honorable mentions being the Browns, the Bengals, and the Giants. But number 10.
Prior to the number 10.
Prior to the number 10.
Okay.
Number 10, the Detroit Lions. If you remember from the offseason, they re-signed Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Penei Sewell, as well as signing some guys like Marcus Davenport, DJ Reader, Carlton Davis, and then also getting some cornerbacks in Terron Arnold and Enos Rakestraw Jr. You go to number 9, the Tennessee Titans. They surrounded Will Levis in year 2 with some talent with J.C. Latham at the tackle position, as well as Calvin Ridley. And don't forget, L'Jarius Sneed, the talented cornerback, is now one of the Tennessee Titans there at 9. We go to 8, the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, Johnny Newman, and as well as Mike Sainristil. Their move is the Dan Quinns, the Cliff Kingsbury, kind of, I guess a quick turnaround and try to build for the future there at 8. At 7, the New York England Patriots with Drake May and all they did in the NFL draft. 6, the Los Angeles Rams. Losing Aaron Donald was a big move, but they got Jared Verse and Braden Fisk for the future there to the defensive line.
Before you move on, I'm going to go back to the Commanders at number 8. So they did figure that Dan Quinn is the new head coach. Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator. So the coaching moves, GM moves, those particular moves are also being incorporated, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
Not just the player moves, but as well as the coaching or front office or coordinator moves on top.
Yeah, and for the Commanders, I think the biggest thing for them is adding depth and getting a crown jewel quarterback there that they can build around with Jaden Daniels. They've got Terry McLaurin, and maybe this is kind of a team, the Commanders, you think about the Texans last year and the big jump. Maybe the Commanders could be a team with how they built them to have a first-year jump with Jaden Daniels. At number 7, we said was the Patriots, 6 being the Rams.
And again, we talked about Ramondre Stevenson being signed today for the 4 years, $36 million. And they talk about Duggar and Onwenu, Henry. It's interesting that's for you Patriot fans. I mean, to tell you, you're moving up. And I think you broke it down pretty good earlier that, hey, look, this is all good. It's about time that they start making moves and keeping their core nucleus. I look at the defense as pretty solid. There's some good offensive moves, and it's good to see that they're moving up where before they were just status quo, just playing with the kind of guys that they have.
Yeah, and then for the 6, the LA Rams, the biggest thing is their offensive defensive line. They re-signed their offensive guard, Jonah Jackson, as well as they had a trade accusation for Kevin Dotson. So they really bolstered that offensive line, and when they do lose a Hall of Famer in Aaron Donald, I think it's brilliant, and I know teams in the draft try to get a quarterback and a wide receiver in the same college, but to get a D tackle and a D end from the same exact college, I think is going to build chemistry, and it's a good sign for the Rams.
I think the only left for the Rams, for you Rams fans, the few that are out here, is Matthew Stafford wanting an extension. Let me say this. Not so much extension. He wants more guaranteed money. Rightfully so. So that's one thing he did. He was at the OTAs, but was not at the minicamp. His statement right now, and his folks are saying, hey, look, we want more guaranteed money. The extension's fine. We're all good with that on a per basis. But now he's looking at the guaranteed money. So I just wonder if he'd had that more guaranteed money, if that had bumped him from like a 6 to a 5. But that's something else to watch in these offseason moves.
So as we creep into the top 5, at number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles. They continue to have a great offseason every single year. They signed Saquon Barkley, Quinyon Mitchell, and Cooper DeJean. They added to their defense in the draft as well. And they got James Bradbury. They got Darius Slay on contracts too. And I believe they had Chauncey Gardner Johnson from the Lions coming back to the Eagles too. So they bolstered their defense and got a star running back for the Eagles there at 5. At 4, the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud continue to bring more weapons. They re-signed Nico Collins. They got Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon. They signed Danielle Hunter. And now you look at the Texans in year 2 with DeMeco Ryans and C.J. Stroud as a real candidate to contend for the AFC.
Boy, I got to tell you what, they're doing a great job of building for a Super Bowl team. I mean, they took the first step, go to the playoffs. They beat the Browns. They lose the next game. But I'd say this, the pass rusher, the defensive side is where they want to build, and getting some more weapons for C.J. Stroud. Good offseason moves and continuing to build and not be, what's the phrase? Not be content on where you're at. And also the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, getting that group of young guys in place. Stephon Diggs is going to be huge for C.J. Stroud.
And you wonder, too, if this is going to be Bobby Slowick's last year, because he's one of those guys that was in that Redskins coaching staff back in 2013. He's like one of the last guys that hasn't got a head coaching job. You think if the Texans have a great year next year that he'd be the next to get one, too. At 3, this is where it kind of gets a little controversial. The Steelers at 3. Signing Russell Wilson and trading for Justin Fields. They got some offensive line help as well as Peyton Wilson there, the linebacker. I'm not going to lie, Manuch, I saw them at 3, and I was a little puzzled. I think they're a little too high.
Yeah, I think it was too. I mean, because you got their defensively, they're pretty much set. But Russell Wilson experiment, Justin Fields continue to build. I agree with you. This seems to be a little bit more on history with Russell Wilson than currently where they're going.
And at number 2, you mentioned it, the Arizona Cardinals, and I think they did a good job of accumulating talent without compromising their future. Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously being the highlight of the offseason for him. But we talked about, the guy they got in the late first round, mistakes my name, Darius Robinson. I think they did well during the draft too. But the free agency moves of guys that have played a lot of football and a veteran, and you're always hearing that from press conferences from James Conner and Budda Baker that we finally got the guys in the locker room that have bought in, and those including the free agency that they've got.
Let me add to this, and I don't know if they incorporated this as far as the best offseason moves. How about not any of your assistant coaches going anywhere? The same group, the same staff, everybody is in place. I think that have to account for that as well, too.
And at number 1, the Chicago Bears have won the offseason. According to these rankings, Caleb Williams, they traded Justin Fields. They got Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze, as well as DeAndre Swift. Their defense showed a lot of growth last year, but they bolstered that offense. And I got to agree with them, Manuch. I think Ryan Poles did a great job with the Bears.
I did think he did, too. And reports coming out of Chicago is that Caleb Williams is going through the typical struggles. They said he throws the heck out of the ball. He's accurate. But as far as reads, reaction, and where to go with the football, he'll be fine. I mean, he's a talent. He's outstanding. But I got to tell you what, Cardinal fans, hey, we talk about you're getting the love. The other thing, and like I said, I don't know what other minutia these guys look at when they're ranking, these teams. As I mentioned, the Cardinals keeping their staff in place, the culture changing, getting rid of the guys that don't want to be there, or I don't want to say that, washing out the guys that don't fit. Let's just put it that way. I think those are some of the things that they got to take into account. But I really like what the Texans did. You look at the Commanders. I think they're giving a little bit too much credit for Cliff Kingsbury. I got to see it before I believe it, because we saw it here for 5 years with Kyler Murray. So I think those are some of the things that you got to take into account.
Yeah, I think an underrated team, too, is the Detroit Lions. You look at the method of the Chiefs having their core guys of Mahomes, Kelsey, and a guy to rush the passer, and Chris Jones, and they did that for the Lions, and they're going to have to pay Hutchinson in the future. I think they had a really underrated offseason, too, and I think another one was the Philadelphia Eagles. They continue to get better and better every single year, and I remember watching the NFL draft. I'm like, damn. They got Quinion Mitchell. He fell that far. And then you get a guy in Cooper DeJean in the second round. So that defense is going to be flying. They got a lot more depth because last year they dealt with a lot of injuries.
Folks, to remind you about Twin Peaks, they have 5 Valley locations. Twin Peaks is your sports headquarters for all the NHL finals and Major League Baseball games. Well, coming up next, handicapper Scott of DocSports.com.
Here's what's trending on Fox Sports 9. You're in break. I lost you. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray recently spoke on rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. K1 said Harrison's arrival takes the offense to a whole nother level. The Panthers get a third shot to hoist the cup, while the Edmonton Oilers hope to continue.
Yeah, you're fine now. You're fine when you came back. You just dropped for a time period where I did go to break.
Right here on Fox Sports 910 at 5 p.m. And the D-backs take on the Phillies for the first time since last season's NLCS. Jordan Montgomery gets the ball for Arizona, while Philadelphia trots out former Snake Taijuan Walker to the hill. I'm Drew Allen on Fox Sports 910. Available everywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
Join the team at the largest towing company in the state, All City Towing. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service personnel. Enjoy benefits like the state's most advanced towing equipment, set work schedules, a healthy 401k employer match, health benefits, employer-paid life insurance, and a monthly fuel allowance. Ready to take your career to the next level? Visit us at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move.
If you haven't tried G2G protein bars, today is the day. Find them in your local Costco's refrigerated section or online at g2gbar.com. Incredible taste and packed with protein. They are perfect for your on-the-go lifestyle. Check them out today.
Investing in a high-quality misting system from Fogco will be the coolest decision you ever make for your home patio, pool area, or commercial property. Fogco, the Valley's original manufacturer of high-pressure fog systems, is one of the pioneers in the misting industry for over 35 years. Let Fogco transform your outdoor living and entertainment areas into a cool and soothing tropical showcase. If you're looking for quality, reliability, and value, get a free quote at fogco.com. That's fogco.com.
You may not have any experience dealing with car wrecks, but Lerner and Rowe does. After your car wreck, you need an attorney to make sure your interests, like car repairs, medical bills, and lost wages, are protected. Finding the right attorney is actually easy. Just look for reputation, experience, and results. Lerner & Rowe has thousands of 5-star reviews, decades of experience, and we've recovered billions of dollars for our injured clients. Hurt in a wreck and need a check? Call Lerner & Rowe today.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Arena Sports Grill in Scottsdale on Bell Road is your home for billiards, poker, and trivia. And now the Roc and Manuch Amber by Huss Brewing. Stop by today and experience top sports viewing, off-track betting, daily specials, and ice-cold Roc and Manuch Amber drafts. Arena Sports Grill.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Don't miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Look at your cup holder. It's empty. And you're feeling thirsty. Head to a nearby convenience store and fill it with a Pepsi Zero Sugar, Mountain Dew, or Starry.
He's good to go.
Delicious, refreshing Pepsi for the road.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
Get out of the heat and play at Dukes.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
A huge new game room.
I've got a baseball question for him when you do the baseball thing.
Darts and Pop-A-Shot basketball.
Dukes on Miller and McDowell.
With 3 10-foot TV screens in dozens.
Yeah, I just have an abstract at-large gambling baseball.
That's progressive.com.
Now, sports gamblers, Scott Spreitzer, one of the leaders and most trusted names in the country. Nobody watches and studies games more than he does. From DocSports.com, here's Scott Spreitzer exclusively on with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
That's right. He joined us on the right, Toyota guest like he has the last 18 years. It'll be 20 years for me and Rock coming up here in September. Scott, it's Manuch alongside Jax this afternoon. How we doing there? How's everything in Vegas? About, 125 there today? What is it?
Well, that would mean it's 135 in Phoenix, right? If it's 125 here. So, yeah, it's hot. There's no doubt about it. It's so hot you can't even get in the pool half the time. It's, first world problems.
There's not a lot going on. NBA Finals are over. We'll get into the Panthers Edmonton here. WNBA heating up because of one Caitlin Clark and others. Are you seeing a lot of action with the WNBA, or is it just all about the Caitlin Clark games per se?
More action on the WNBA all around. I mean, and I can tell you that just, I do videos about 4 or 5 nights a week, usually do them about 1 o'clock in the morning and talking about a game or whatever, a free play, so to speak. And I'm telling you right now that Clark games, but any WNBA, more viewers than the NHL playoffs or Major League Baseball regular season. That's pretty eye-opening to me, considering this league was really an also-ran just a couple of years ago as far as people's interest. But, yeah, I mean, it's in some cases, it's almost twice as many views for WNBA prediction videos over NHL playoff videos.
So you got the NBA, you got the props and the handicapping, if you will. With her now being part of this Indiana team, are you seeing similar scenarios starting to build that way? Are you seeing props in WNBA games? Is it all about Caitlin Clark's game more than anything?
Yeah, you're seeing multiple players now getting, with prop betting that I haven't seen in the past. Obviously, this is brought on by Caitlin Clark and the attention that she's brought to the league. But, yeah, you're seeing multiple players. You could probably, I think I saw last night 4 or 5, and there are probably more today, but 4 or 5 props on tonight's Connecticut-Las Vegas game, for instance, which, Caitlin Clark isn't a part of that. And that's probably more now than it was, let's say, 10 hours ago. I handicap the WNBA every day. I've actually been doing that for, I'm going to say since about 2018. I happen to like handicapping and betting on leagues without a lot of teams that have no more than 3 or 4 games a night. And so I'm a WNBA capper and better going back a few years. Going back 20 years, at least 20 years, probably more, I'm a CFL handicapper and better. And again, you're talking to the CFL 1 game a day. So the handicapping is easier, which I don't want to say winning is easier, but the handicapping is easier because you're looking at 1 to 4 games a night. And obviously you're not getting your head mixed up with a bunch of numbers and stats on, let's say, a 80-game Saturday college basketball card. So I tend to like these leagues. It happened tonight that I'm not on either game.
So there's
in the
never
WNBA. I ended up passing, but I think Las Vegas is about to go on a run getting Chelsea Gray back, but that number, the line was a little bit too uncomfortable for me.
So there's never really any downtime per se for one Scott Sprites or DocSports.com. You can also tweet him at Scott Wynn. So you're just you've always got something that you can find to handicap.
I'm kind of a nutcase of this business because I'll tell you why. Because I take time off once in a while. Major League Baseball All-Star break. I'll take that entire week off from everything to kind of rejuvenate, get ready for preseason NFL. But I feel like I'm missing something if I don't handicap games. And I generally start about 10 o'clock at night and I finish up about 2 o'clock in the morning. Manuch, you've texted me at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there and I'll answer right away because that's right in my prime time. And I always sit there and I'm like, how in the world is this guy up till 1 or 2 in the morning and doing a radio show the next day?
Well, that's me getting ready for all the prep the night before because Rock gets on that bad boy like at 5 in the morning. And I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get that stuff that I need to get on there. So I'm up late doing it. Panthers at Edmonton tonight. Let me say it again. Game 6, Panthers back at Edmonton tonight. So how are you handicapping Game 6 of the National Hockey League Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I took a shot with the Panthers here. And, Florida had a bad 4-minute stretch in the second period the other night in Game 5. And that's where Edmonton did their damage, got a couple of shorthanded goals and that kind of stuff. But Florida dominated at least, I'm going to say 40 minutes of the 60 minutes of actual ice time in Game 5. They had a run at one point or a stretch where they outshot Edmonton 25-4. They won the faceoff battle 37-25. They had 44 hits to 16 for the Oilers, but they didn't forecheck. I mean, not only did they not forecheck well, but they hardly forechecked at all for a good chunk of that game, which is what they were doing the first 3 games. The forecheck was outstanding. And then, of course, Paul Maurice now making a change, I think, which is really going to help to the fourth line. He's decided to bench the veteran Kyle Okposo. He's a healthy scratch in favor of Nick Cousins. And I think this is potentially a great move because Okposo has shown his age of late. He's 36. He's got just 2 assists in 16 playoff games, no points in his last 7 games. And he's also made too many errant passes the last couple of games and mistakes. So he's not going to like it or doesn't like it, I'm sure. But it's a disciplined approach. I like the fact that Cousins will take his spot on the ice. And that's one of the main reasons that I think you're not going to see a big fall off when you get to the fourth line when Florida's on the ice. But overall, man, I mean, again, this is the better team. They dominated about 40 out of 60 minutes the other night. They got to stay away from committing too many penalties. They had way too many the last two games. You're going up against the best power play in maybe the history of hockey. So I think Florida plays discipline, and they leave there with the cup in their hands.
He's Scott Spreitzer, DocSports.com, and at Scott Wins on Twitter. The prop bets, Connor McDavid is on the verge of breaking. He's broken 3 or 4 records. He could break more if this goes 7 games, and he's breaking the records of one Wayne Gretzky on top of that. Are all the prop bets one Connor McDavid? Is there anything else besides Connor McDavid as far as prop bets?
Yeah, you could bet like a lot of goalie props and things of that nature. I'm kind of staying away this game, and if there is a game 7, staying away from the Connor McDavid prop bets for the fact that you're paying a premium every time Connor McDavid's name is mentioned.
So, Scott, a game that you are paying attention to is the Mariners at Marlins.
You probably
tonight.
should have got it at even money, but they know that the bettors are going to come in and want to bet Connor McDavid props anyway. I mean, you look at points tonight, he's over 1.5 points minus $1.30. So every 100 you want to win, you got to lay 130. It's stuff like that keeps me away from it, is the pricing. And I'll give you a good example. His line mate, Leon Draisaitl, his over-under also 1.5 points. But guess what? You get 175 back for every 100 you bet. So it just shows you the difference in McDavid and Draisaitl when it comes to points. I mean, his own line mate, that's how big of a difference it is on the pricing because McDavid is such a big bet, such a popular bet, I should say.
Let's talk some baseball, Scott, as MLB is one of the only things you can bet on right now that's consistently daily. I heard that you have a play on the Mariners at Marlins game tonight. Kind of explain what you're looking at.
Yeah, and guys, I do a lot of first 5-inning bets now, and a lot of that, if it comes to an under, like
I'll go next.
Overs full 9 innings almost all the time when I play an over. As far as unders, I play the first 5 innings. I just don't like that ghost runner on second base in the 10th inning for both teams if it goes to extra innings, and you're really taking a chance when you play those unders because of that. But I got Seattle tonight, and I laid a half a run in the first 5 innings. So they got to win by 1 or more for me to win, and they got to be leading by 1 or more after 5 innings. And you got George Kirby, last 4 starts, has been pitching well. They've won all 4 of those 4 starts. I was going to go full game with this, guys, and then their pen, though, got worked a little bit in that series they just completed in Cleveland. So I decided to eliminate the pens and go with these first 5 innings. But, you look at what he's done. 4 earned runs allowed, 23 base runners in his last 24 innings pitched over those 4 games, 27 strikeouts in 24 innings. I look at Miami near the bottom of the league at home against right-handers. And then they got Trevor Rogers going. And in 14 starts with Miami this year, his team has won 1 of those 14 games, 0-8 at home. I break it down to first 5 innings. With Rogers' last 13 starts, the Marlins are 2-10-1 through the first 5 innings of those 13 starts. Home ERAs through the roof, walks a lot of batters, took a shot with the Mariners in the first 5 innings.
Scott, I got a big picture baseball question for you.
Okay.
On a day-to-day basis, how difficult is it to handicap the National League? Can go from being 3 from the bottom in the National League to holding a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like handicapping the game, starting with that part of the question, I try my best to stay away from teams that are sub 500. It doesn't always work out that way because sometimes you do get a good matchup where you've got a certain pitcher on a team that's not that good. And so I look for that first. I'm looking for decent pitchers on teams with winning records. And I can always reduce the price when they're heavy favorites by laying a run and a half full game or half a run in the first 5 innings. As far as the odds in the National League, it's still the Dodgers clear-cut favorite to represent the National League. You haven't seen much of an adjustment on there, even though they've got these injuries. From that division, been able to step up really. I mean, everybody else under 500, Padres and D-backs a game under 500 each. As far as the Central guys, I mean, you're telling me the St. Louis Cardinals are the second best team in that division at 500? They're going nowhere. 8-run differential. They got to get rid of Marmol. Maybe say, hey, Yachty, you want to come in and coach these guys or manage these guys? We'll give you a trial run. I think he would do great as a manager. And then as far as the East is concerned, you don't see a whole lot there outside of the Philadelphia Phillies because the Braves lost Acuna, and they've not been the same without him. I will say this: the one team that's starting to get some betting is the New York Mets, who you can get at a decent price in the National League because they played an ultra tough schedule early on when they were struggling, and now all of a sudden we see them winning a bunch of games, and they're only 2 games under 500 with a chance.
Please get rid of Scott and go to break. You guys are having an issue.
That's the only team that I've
Need to get you guys fixed.
positive movement on when it comes to folks betting on them to potentially win the National League. I don't see that. I don't think they have enough pitching, but that's kind of where it's at right now.
He's Scott Spreitzer. Just go to DocSports.com and at Scott Wins. Scotty, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Enjoy, guys. Have a good one.
You bet. Coming up next, it's football at Minutes. Jimmy B right here on Fox Sports 910 Live.
Hey,
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open.
Yeah, I mean, if it continues to happen the way it's been happening, you guys do come back.
You ever have a case of the Mondays? You won't if you tune in to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from 1 till 4 as they broadcast live from the CAZ Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar. That's every Monday from Casino, Arizona.
Investing in a high-quality misting system from Fogco will be the coolest decision you ever make for your home patio, pool area, or commercial property. Fogco, the Valley's original manufacturer of high-pressure fog systems, is one of the pioneers in the misting industry for over 35 years. Let Fogco transform your outdoor living and entertainment areas into a cool and soothing tropical
Not if I get him first. I'm filling in on Monday.
reliability, and value. Get a free
I said, not if I get him first. I'm
just kidding. Faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, and great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Now back to the Roc and Manuch Show, live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the selection, and always right on the price. Wright Toyota, 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale, and online at WrightToyota.com.
Let's get ready for football!
It's Football at 50, the latest top football story trending this hour, right here with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeart Radio app.
That's right, Football at 50. Always talk a little football. Interesting, we were talking about the NIL yesterday and a couple of decommits at USC. Commits, decommits. Well, also, A little story here that Jackson pulled up about, college football walk-ons. Lane Kiffin's latest comments in reference to, walk-ons, preferred walk-ons. And there's a whole science or madness of this. And I think with all the money being distributed, you might see more and more of this moving forward.
Yeah, and I think one of the downsides of NIL and this whole settlement between the House and the NCAA is people fear that college football walk-ons will go away because, colleges and schools want to preserve some of that money to get some of those top recruits, some of those top transfers out, onto the roster. And Lane Kiffin had a quote, and I want to read it regarding to the NCAA trying to get rid of walk-ons. And he said, quote, "They can use different terms around it, but they're getting rid of walk-ons. It's a major concern," Lane Kiffin said. "There's all kinds of walk-ons that have become great players and gone on to win championships or playing in the NFL. And just the locker room culture of having walk-ons, they become friends with the star scholarship players, and they'll be in each other's weddings down the road. So many of those guys actually become coaches. That's part of the fabric of college football is the walk-ons, their stories, their family tradition, and going to the same school, and you would be removing that." And I agree with him, Manuch. Being a former walk-on, yes, you're part of the practice squad, but it's very important, and being a part of the depth of the roster. But most of these walk-ons, and you think of J.J. Watt, you think of Baker Mayfield, Stetson Bennett, it's low risk, high reward where you're not giving them a scholarship, and they could turn out to be a star athlete.
Here's the other thing, too, and now a lot of it, they call it a preferred walk-on, or PWO is the term that they use now. And that term is you just can't show up for practice. You got to be qualified. They got to make sure that you're an individual that can play, has a little bit to add to the team. They're not just going to have, Jim Bob Stevens, he's 5'4", 110 pounds, come out. Those walk-ons will mean something to that program because they need them for scout team. They need them as a fill-in. They just need them, period, overall, because like yourself, all of a sudden your freshman year, your sophomore year, you prove to them that, hey, look, this kid who's a diamond in the rough can come out here and give us valuable reps, can be a player for us. They got you on the cheap. All of a sudden now they give you a scholarship. So it's kind of like when you're a walk-on going to a major college football program, let's just say even if it's FCS or FBS, you go on, they think of you as a valuable commodity that might have a chance to turn that around. But if not, if you're one of those guys that just loves school, loves to go out and practice with no visions of grandeur whatsoever, they need guys like that. They need guys to be out there running the scout team. They need some extra bodies for somebody to go ahead and throw to if you're a quarterback. So I agree with them. I think that if you got rid of walk-ons or the PWO preferred walk-ons, you're eliminating a core fabric of college football that really helps illustrate as to that ground base for a lot of people to have and build forward at. And your point, several of the guys you just talked about go on to be coaches, go on to be good players. We had several guys at K-State went on to be outstanding coaches. We had several guys at K-State came on, and you know what? They played their senior year. They got a scholarship, and they contributed. So I agree with Lane Kiffin. I think that this has got to be in place. And I think what I think is happening is that they're pulling so much money away. How can they afford to keep these guys on travel, insurance, all the above? And that's the wrong way of thinking.
Yeah, and you think about when I played at Montana, you look at the current 3 former Grizzlies that are in the NFL right now, they were all former walk-ons at Montana and found their way to the NFL. And I think when you see a bunch of opt-outs, of bowl opt-outs, and in this article too, it talked about how Lane Kiffin and them were preparing for the Chick-fil-A Bowl against Penn State, and he had a bunch of players that, I don't want to play in the bowl game because I don't want to get hurt before I go and transfer. I don't want to play in the bowl game because I want to go to the NFL draft. Some of those walk-ons you might need, not to play, I'm saying, but as depth reasons if you're trying to play in a bowl game too. So I just think the walk-ons are such a viable part in each organization, each program, and they're the ones that really set the culture. And they push some of the scholarship guys. I'm sure you got stories too, like when you were playing at Kansas State or I was at Montana, like the scholarship guys, you've got everything, and you got those walk-ons pushing you to kind of go towards your goals, whereas the walk-ons, you've got nothing. All you got is your hard work.
Well, let me add to that. And the way the transfer portal is and the way the guys are coming and going, if that walk-on's been there and that walk-on knows your offense and you feel, hey, look, that guy's leaving, we can now give that other scholarship away to this walk-on because he's proved that he's there every day. He's proved he can catch or block or whatever the position is. All of a sudden you have a built-in recruit. I mean, you don't have to go somewhere else. You don't have to look at the portal. If you look at a guy that's a walk-on like yourself, and Montana's going, well, let me take a look at the portal as far as receivers are concerned. You know what? This Jackson Groff kid, he's doing pretty well. We've already got a guy right here. Why do we need to go grab somebody else, pay $50,000 to get that person, where we can put Jax on a scholarship? He's already knows the system. He can make some plays for us. You see what I'm saying? You already have built-in recruiting when you have those walk-ons there that can add value to the program.
Yeah, and then there's also another caveat, another road where colleges are starting to go down, where, for example, for the Florida Gators, they filled up all their 85 scholarships already for this season. But there was a guy, a Colorado transfer, who was the #1 cornerback in the class of 2023, Cormani McLean, that was in the portal. They didn't have enough scholarships to fill, so he became the first ever NIL walk-on, where he goes to school and he gets it paid for through boosters, but he's on the roster as a walk-on.
Like I just said, you backfilled with a walk-on, and he got NIL money. Isn't that, I mean, what a win-win for that young man. I mean, that's just kind of a windfall for him. But I agree. I truly believe that the walk-ons are needed. How do you think Nebraska built their program back in the 70s? They were down in the dumps in those late 60s, early 70s. Bob Devaney, who was coach of that team, built that team up. So what you basically said, that the Cornhuskers started to build with walk-ons. They had all these scholarships. They brought all these walk-ons on from Nebraska and from Iowa. Tom Osborne built the walk-on program where they had guys playing. They used to have JV football in those days. They had walk-ons. It was like his farm system in Nebraska. The walk-ons, the freshmen, they played on that team. They developed, and lo and behold, the guys like the Junior Millers of the world, the I.M. Hips of the world, started to develop to be outstanding players that benefited and put Nebraska as a prominent, national title team. So I think that's one of those things you take a good look at. It's a great article. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a need for the walk-ons or for the fabric, because you just never know where this NIL thing is getting way out of hand, where you might just stick with what you have in-house.
Yeah, I wonder how many months, how many years until we start to figure out for college football when we want to start to get a president, because I think with the NCAA and how they're running it right now, I fear for college football, because we both love it so much, and there's already going to be a bunch of change coming up this season. You just hope it doesn't go down a road where, NIL overpowers college football, and to that point, walk-ons start to get removed.
Yeah, I think that genie's out of the bottle big time. It's just a matter of getting that all function, making that all correct from that particular standpoint. Hey, coming up in hour number 3, the land auction on hold to Coyotes fans, and on top of that, we'll catch up with Chasey Chiefs great kicker one, Nick Lowry. He'll talk about the things going on. Speaking of land, then what's going to be going on there in Kansas City, or is it Kansas? And also talk about a great event he has every July called Christmas in July. Nick Lowry coming up here. We're joining you from Wright Toyota. It's Manuch, it's Jax, it's Shu, all going on as we bring it all right here on Fox Sports 910.
Clear.
Roc and Manuch.
So what happened
Jimmy
twice
B
that
has been
segment?
Sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing.
Hey, it's Dom with Venezia's Pizzeria. You know us for delicious family dinners and huge party pizzas. But
Do you have the regular setup, Manuch?
feeding a large group too? Our full catering menu has a ton of
Yeah,
variety,
could you?
so everyone will find something they love.
Okay.
And the best part, we don't charge per head. Just tell us how many people you need to
Broadcasting from the Rappy Law Group.
But we'll see what happens.
This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD3 Phoenix. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app, the exclusive audio home of NBC's coverage of the 2024 Paris Olympics.
Suns backup center Drew Eubanks is declining his player option to return to the team. He'll become a free agent. Meanwhile, Alex Murillo's hope to reestablish the Coyotes in Arizona with a new arena took a big hit as next week's land auction in Phoenix was canceled by the Arizona State Land Department today. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals hits the ice as the Panthers get a third shot to hoist the cup, while the Oilers hope to continue their improbable comeback with a third straight win on their home ice. Game airs right here on Fox Sports 910 at 5 p.m. And the D-backs take on the Phillies for the first time since last season's NLCS. Jordan Montgomery will get the ball. I'm Drew Allen on Fox Sports 910, available everywhere on the free iHeartRadio app.
This is the Parker & Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
Tonight, look for partly cloudy skies, temperatures right around 90 degrees, and then for your Saturday, 109 with about a 30% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Ty Brennan.
Report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward, like banners, flyers, signs, and catalogs, some even same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50 on your print purchase. Offer ends 7/6. Visit staples.com/print for details. Boost your business with Staples, your local print and marketing expert.
Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B is sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing. Now back to the Roc and Manuch Show, live from Wright Toyota.
So just so you know, if all of a sudden you randomly hear me talking over you,
on the price, right?
That's because I lost you guys.
Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard.
And just come back and let me finish what I'm saying.
Online at wrighttoyota.com.
But we're not going to have those problems this segment, so it's going to be fine.
Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Roc. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900 and always online at lernerandrow.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. On Sports 910.
Hour number 3 of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Dan Manuch alongside Jackson Groff. We got you back at the iHeart Studios manning the controls as we join you from Wright Toyota. Today's top story is brought to you by the Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. They have 3 live betting windows and 6 self-service betting kiosks plus 8 screens displaying all the betting lines. Check it out for yourself. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And if you're over there between 11 and 1 tomorrow, you're going to see Jax over there in the CAZ Sports Bar, Sportsbook. You guys got a little going on over there tomorrow, Jax?
Yeah, myself and Ben Garcia filling in. We got Joe Bourget actually is coming on at 11:30 tomorrow.
A little Suns talk.
A little Suns talk. Yeah, we got Drew Eubanks not coming back. We got some speculation with the NBA draft. What's the approach to the offseason? So, yeah, we got Joe Bourget tomorrow at 11:30.
Well, if you're a Coyotes fan and you're driving, you're listening to Roc and Manuch to Jimmy B, put your hands at 10 and 2. Make sure your seatbelt's on. Things aren't looking good. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. Well, Craig Morgan, the bearer of bad news, reported this going back at 1 o'clock, and Schubert back there said, hey, guys, here's the latest right before we came on the air. And we're like, oh, what's next? Here's the gist of it. The Arizona State Land Trust has put next week's auction, June 27th, Thursday, it's canceled. Not on hold, not postponed. It has been canceled. Now, here's the crux of why they have canceled it. They've issued a statement basically saying that if the Coyotes bid on this, or if they do come to a bid, that they still need special land use permits. The zoning is going to be changed. That basically, folks, their homework, their due diligence, all the things that they need to assure that if they bid on that piece of property, that the Arizona State Land Trust can go ahead in good faith and say, okay, guys, let's get this deal wrapped up. Let's get your check in within the next week and make this happen, and not have all of a sudden the Yotes get the winning bid and say, hey, hold on. We need another 30 days to get this, and this done. Not going to happen. So the Arizona State Land Trust has canceled it. They've said, you're not ready to buy this piece of property. Now, we've known all along, it's been in the trust guidelines and rules that they have to have special use permits, that the proper zoning is in place, because it's not zoned, folks, for an arena. And you always have to go get any kind of a special use or special zoning or whatever you want to call it prior to. That's why you have the hay in the barn ready to go to market before you take it somewhere and sell it and or buy it. And for example, when the Coyotes were ready to buy that piece of property over in Tempe, they were lock, stock, in barrel, ready to clean up the site. They did land studies on it, or we call them land soils, okay? I'm going to go a little commercial real estate on you folks right now so you have a little understanding. That piece of property over in Tempe has been a landfill, a dump for many years. Yotes knew they were going to have to clean it up. So they cleaned about $60 million. They had the proper zoning for an arena. They had the retail, commercial, hotel, everything was in place and approved by the Tempe City Council because they got to vote on this, right? So that was approved. Everything was ready to go. The only hurdle they had left was they had to go ahead and take it to the constituents to vote on it. There was no taxes, no this, no this. All they do is just the technicalities, you still have to vote on it. It got shot down for all the wrong reasons. Those folks 60 plus and older that voted on for all the wrong reasons, okay, that's water under the bridge. But the Yotes were ready to go. They had everything in place. If that vote would have passed, they'd have probably had everything moving within a month after that, shovels in the ground and moving forward, correct? Well, obviously they haven't done the same kind of due diligence, the same kind of procedures that they need for this piece of property at 56th Street and the 101. Now, let me add to it. The main reason why the city of Phoenix is probably having heartburn over the Coyotes putting an arena there is that they would look to work with them, but maybe they felt that wasn't the best use for that piece of property. Folks, that property is a very valuable piece of property. Now, they're going to get the net interest return or net operating return on that piece of property if an arena goes in there. Will they get the tax base to get to the city of Phoenix more so unless there's an arena on there? So they probably feel, well, if we're going to zone it for an arena, we got to make damn sure that the other parcels, the other pieces of property on here are going to be highest and best use. That's what they call it, highest and best use. So all that might have had heartburn, but again, the City Council of Phoenix would have had to have voted on this zoning prior to the Coyotes bidding on this to make sure that this goes through. Does that all make sense? Does that make sense?
So now with it canceled, aren't you kind of hoping, and for Arizona Coyotes fans out there, that he does bow out so that the NCAA can start getting discussions with other real potential owners? Because all this guy has done is fail.
You mean the National Hockey League?
Fail. Yeah, National Hockey League, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, well, he's got the 18-month exclusive for now. And Steve Peters, who was on a little bit earlier, explained to us. Steve's up there in Edmonton, and he's been a part of this. And the information that we're getting, per se, from Craig Morgan is pretty much that's it. He's trying to gather more information. We tried to track him down. He's already busy doing TV interviews. But Shaw, I'll defer to you. Kind of the gist of the
that the right course of action is to cancel the auction next week and reorder the steps is the way that they are describing it. And they talk about a special use permit that they confirmed the proposed arena use would require. And so because they do not have that from the applicant for the site, Miracle Development LLC, that is the Coyotes, that is Alex Morello, that because they don't have that from the applicant, and they don't have it before this auction was supposed to take place on June 27th. They have decided today, on Friday, June 21st, that they are going to cancel this auction. Now, the Coyotes were under the interpretation, at least early on, and I think for a large part of this process, that the land already was allowed to use. It was allowed to be used for an arena and that they didn't need the special use permit. But what the Arizona State Land Department is confirming for us today, and it was speculated by Steve Peters, it's been speculated by Craig Morgan, it's been speculated by a lot of people who are in this space, that it wasn't necessarily zoned for this. The Arizona State Land Department, a government entity, has come out and saying, we checked, we asked, it does require a special use permit to be able to be used for an arena. So if we're going to have an auction, which was applied for by Miracle Development LLC, they want to use it for an arena, we are not going to conduct business and we are not going to conduct an auction for a piece of land when the lead applicant, the lead person that wants to get this land, isn't going to be able to use the land the way they want to without this special use permit. Because the last thing the Arizona State Land Department wants to do, guys, is run this auction, Alex Morello and company bid this up. It's open at 68.5. Let's just round it off, guys. It's $100 million, right? They don't want to take a check for $100 million. I don't know if they do checks. It'd probably be a wire transfer. But however they do this banking in 2024, they don't want to take that $100 million and then go through all this process, and it can't get zoned correctly. And so now they have to re-put it up for auction. They got to give the money back. They don't want to deal with any of that. They want one nice transaction, and then they want to wash their hands of it and say, do what you want with the land. And so because of the ambiguity, they asked, they got the answer. And now here we stand once again, another example of the Arizona Coyotes. Doesn't matter who the owner is, doesn't matter where they play, doesn't matter what the arena deal is, does not matter. This is another example of this team, this franchise, having egg on its face. And now they have to regroup, and they have to figure out what their next steps are.
What an absolute mess. Here's my other thought, too. They had mentioned, or it was rumored, speculated, that there were several other individuals looking to bid on this property, too. If they had those individuals that were ready to go, that would meet the current zoning on it without any kind of special use permit or to rezone the property, I wonder why they canceled from that standpoint.
Well, and that's a very good point, Manuch. That tells me that they did this as a life vest. They threw the life preserver towards Alex Morello and the Coyotes and said, we're going to save you from yourself here. Because, listen, the Arizona State Land Department's not going to play favorites. They could very easily run this auction on next Thursday if they wanted to. They could run it, and Alex Morello wouldn't be able to bid on the land because he wouldn't have a special use permit, so they probably wouldn't accept any of his bids, and somebody else would win the land, and boy, would that be a fun radio story on Thursday and Friday. But they didn't do that. They gave him the out. They gave him the life preserver. So that tells me that maybe this decision, despite the Coyotes not having said anything at this time, that maybe this was done in conjunction with having a conversation with Alex Morello and the Coyotes, that they threw him this life preserver to potentially get this all sorted out so that we can go down this road.
Boy, the Yotes are a cat with, 10 lives now, so to speak? So
clown show. That's what they are. They are a clown show.
Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. Hey, need an electric car charger installed or a TV mounted? Contact AZ Electrical Family at azelectricalfamily.com or call 602-577-1392. That's azelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote now. AZ Electrical Family, power up with the best. Visit azelectricalfamily.com. One more time, azelectricalfamily.com to book your free quote. Yes, you.
I have a official statement from the Arizona Coyotes that came in while we were talking. I did not have my screen up because I was talking into a microphone, but I have an official statement that I would like to read. Maybe we can react on the other side. All right?
We'll definitely do that.
Statement from the Coyotes. Here we go.
Coming up next. Jimmy B out here at Wright Toyota on Fox Sports 910.
Clear Valley traffic from the Valley Toyota Dealers Traffic Center.
Afternoon, if you're heading out on the 101 westbound, I'm seeing a wreck. It's sitting off right just before 7th Street. Entry wreck in the West Valley on Bell west of the Loop 303. And an apartment fire, restrictions on Baseline around 46th Street.
This report is sponsored by Sheraton at Wild Horse Pass.
Hey, it's Brooke. My family and I are so excited about our upcoming stay at the Sheraton Grand at Wild Horse Pass. They've got a great spa, great family activities, and more. Book your stay now using promo code ZX0 and receive $100 resort credit. WildHorsePassResort.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, historic rivalries tip. By the way, shareable bites, and every shot you take is a game winner. All season long, you're balling with 29-degree beer, courtside seats, and scenic views. I mean, where else can you pair wall-to-wall hoops with hard-to-find whiskey? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around, Dr. Twin Peaks is open really weighing down with bourbon.
Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing and your sexy status roof on Instagram and Facebook. These roofers cut corners, cobbling together patchwork roofs to meet a budget, not State 48 Roofing. Let's call today for your maintenance, repair, or full replacement needs.
Get ready for the summer. Introducing the Salt River Woods because Talking Stick Resort is the best. Salt River Woods, the Valley's Talking Stick
Check out the second annual Cool Beers and Cheeseburgers Summer Slider Eating Contest Championship. Games, musical chairs, cakewalks, and more on the main stage. Presented by Right Toyota and Right Honda, and of course, everybody's favorite backyard barbecue. Celebration at Westworld with 12 News and Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. Tickets now at scottsdalefourth.com. Presented by R Entertainment and M Culinary Concepts.
Is it time for an all-in-one wireless printer with tons of options?
City Towing. We're hiring dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, and customer service personnel. States set work schedules and visit us at allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move.
We're kicking off summer's greatest hits at Macy's, and we're celebrating with our lowest prices of the summer.
All the nice things I said about maybe they threw him a life preserver,
You need to make them
not based on this.
make up
They don't look at it. It's more this way.
Shop our lowest prices of the summer today at Macy's. Savings on already reduced prices, exclusions apply.
Mattress Firm's July 4th sale.
Clown show. I said it earlier. I'm going to say it.
And on our free iHeart. Well, the Coyotes have finally come out with a statement in reference to the Arizona State Land Trust canceling the bid that's going to be was supposed to happen on next Thursday, June 27th. Our very own Chris Schubert back at the iHeartRadio studios has just got the release. And I'm sitting down for this one. I'm anxiously awaiting to hear that there's something incomprehensible and elite in this statement.
Yeah, so I'm going to read the statement. And remember, it was just, you have to think really hard. But just a few minutes ago on the show, I said that maybe the Arizona State Land Department was doing this in conjunction with the Coyotes as somewhat of a life preserver. Well, this statement completely just destroys that in its entirety. So I will read you this statement. Bear with me. It is 2 full slides on Twitter. A lot of words here for me to discuss, but statement from the Arizona Coyotes. Today, after over a year of planning and meeting every obligation required under Arizona law, the Arizona State Land Department unilaterally canceled the auction that was scheduled to occur on June 27th for the site that has been identified as the future home of the Arizona Coyotes. This unprecedented action by the state of Arizona seriously jeopardizes the future of NHL hockey returning to the desert. As was announced in an April press conference by Coyotes owner Alex Morello and NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, the site of North Scottsdale Road and the 101 was identified as ideally suited to build a 110-acre mixed-use development anchored by a state-of-the-art arena to serve as the home of the Coyotes. It has been made very clear to the state of Arizona that the Coyotes are fully committed to building out the infrastructure, going through the necessary approvals, and developing the site into a world-class destination. Yet, the Arizona State Land Department has canceled the auction despite the objections of the Coyotes less than a week before the scheduled date. I've got more. The organization has worked in good faith with the Arizona State Land Department and has been on track to win the auction next week until the sudden reversal by the Arizona State Land Department today. Canceling the land auction, the state is foregoing millions and potentially billions of dollars that would have gone directly to K-12 education. Investing in the infrastructure of this site, the Coyotes would have unlocked over 2,000 acres of state land for development that would have returned over $2 billion to Arizona schools, created thousands of construction and permanent jobs, and created a new significant tax base to support the future growth of our state. The Arizona Coyotes are exploring all of our legal options given this short-sighted decision by the state.
Okay. I'm going to let that marinate for about a second. Number one, that's all well and good. That might be very true. But the one thing when we listened to the statement by the Arizona State Land and Trust was they made it very clear about the special use permits, about the zoning / rezoning, that they were not comfortable that that criteria has not been met at that Scottsdale Road and 101, basically the northwest corner. I aired earlier. I thought it was 56th Street, but it is Scottsdale Road. My apologies. There, as far as the landowner is concerned, you did not meet their criteria. You can go ahead and say all you want. Yeah, that's all well and good, Arizona Coyotes. We get it. We understand. But you didn't meet the criteria, and they're the owner. It's like if you're selling your house and you haven't been pre-qualified yet, they don't know if you're the seller. They don't know if you can be able to put your house in escrow and close without being pre-qualified. Then why go down that road? So the way we look at this is, you can say unprecedented. This is state land and trust. They're the ones that you have to meet their criteria. Obviously, if that was all well in place, that would have never been done. So somebody dropped the ball, and then somebody in that particular situation didn't get all that done and or approved. And if that rezoning special use permit was to be used ahead of time, I don't be putting the cart in front of the horse, to make sure that at least you did let's say a straw poll amongst the city council members to say, hey, look, we need to have this approved, rezoned, special use permit, all the above. If we got to come to you, would you approve this? Then I say, yeah, we'll probably, if everything fits, we'll probably do that without going to city council. So I got to tell you what, folks, I'm on the state land and trust side all together. They've been doing this for years and years and years. They work with larger developers than Alex Murillo. So clearly they're trying to spin it. Oh, no. We had all of our T's crossed and I's dotted and periods at the end of the sentences. This is on them. They don't want us there. They're playing the victim here, for crying out loud.
And here's the problem, guys. They messed up Tempe. They messed up the deal to get something done with the time frame they had at Mullet Arena. They messed up all of the reports that are out there, allegedly with missing payments and not paying hotel bills and all of that reported stuff that's out there. That's on them. They don't get to then cry foul and put out a statement that goes after the state land department and says, this is unprecedented. This is short-sighted. And by the way, I don't know if you guys, a lot of words there. Did you see the threat that was in there from the Coyotes? Yes. This unprecedented action by the state of Arizona seriously jeopardizes the future of NHL hockey returning to the desert. Really? You're going to throw that in this statement when you've messed up all this time? Nobody else has. You've messed up, Alex Murillo. You've messed up. Your team, Murillo Group, Miracle Developments LLC, the Arizona Coyotes, you've messed all this up. You messed up the vote in Tempe. You messed up the Mullet Arena deal that pushed yourself to the point where you had to sell to Utah. You messed this up by not doing the due diligence. I'm sorry, you don't get to, after all of the mess ups that you have made since taking over this team, you don't get to now say, oh, the Arizona State Land Department, this is unprecedented. This is short-sighted. This is going to ruin the future of hockey in Arizona. No, you did not. You did the unprecedented stuff. You've been short-sighted this entire time. You're the one that is risking and has already moved hockey out of this state. It's on you, Alex Murillo. Don't blame anybody else. This statement is a joke. It's an absolute joke. You cannot play the victim card when you've been at the center of all of this from the get-go.
And don't you know that the victims always cry foul on the other side? And let me add to this too, Shu. The scenario at over the Glendale Arena, Gila River Arena, the late payments. I know for a fact, I've talked to a couple of people within the Glendale City Council. They worked tirelessly to try to keep this Arizona Hockey's team in their Westgate. But they came to a point and said, look, if you don't pay your bills, and they're saying, Murillo's saying they want a 25-year lease. Wait a second. Okay, that's initially, if you go find a piece of property and you want to build and you want to get it, there are out clauses, folks. I did leases forever. There's out clauses, there's 5 years, there's buyouts, there's all kinds of stuff. And again, to your point, Alex Murillo playing the victim, you had an opportunity to stay down at Gila River. You had an opportunity to go build your own property in the time being. You wanted to work with you. Do you think the city of Glendale wanted to kick you out? You're an income generating property. You get how many games per year? 40 some games. They're not going to make all the money you bring them. Concerts, there's no way. So they tried to work with them. It's at some point you got to go, look, guys, we gave you chance after chance. We got to cut you out. I'm sorry. Good luck. We tried to give you every opportunity to make this thing work.
So do you think that the Arizona State Land Department, they want the future, they want a future home for the Arizona Coyotes. They just don't want to sell it to Murillo. They just want to maybe wait for somebody else because they're concerned with all the things that
they don't let him.
mentioned?
They don't let emotion get into it. They want to make sure you've got everything set because once they sell the property, let's say it is at $100 million. It's appraised at 68.5, I think. If it gets up to 100, they go, okay, good. As of today, you are the winning bid. Your panel says 100 million. Great. We're going to sign all the documents. We're going to get you the deed. This is now we're turning this over to you because we want a check. We don't want anybody coming back and saying, well, we can't meet this criteria. Blah, blah, blah. They don't want that. And there might be I'm going to say a 30-day grace period of just making sure everything's there. They want to make sure they sell the property. They don't want to come back and rebid this. They just don't want to do that. So I'm sorry, Shu, you were going to say something?
No, the more I look at this statement physically in front of me on the computer, and the more we talk about it, the more mad I get. Because, guys, do you know what's not in this statement at all? We are still committed to winning the land auction. We are committed to getting the special use permit. We are committed to doing everything that the Arizona State Land Department outlined today in order for us to be able to get this done. We are going to build an arena here in Arizona. We are going to keep hockey here. No, instead, we're exploring all of our legal options. This is an unprecedented and short-sighted decision. They went into attack mode. Instead of using this opportunity to put out a statement that said, we are disappointed in the decision today by the Arizona Land Trust, but let me assure the state of Arizona and Arizona Coyotes fans, we are going to auction on this land. We are going to get the special use permit. We are going to reapply for this land to be at auction. We are going to be at the auction. We are going to bring the blank checkbook. We are going to win the auction. Instead of all of that, it was short-sighted, unprecedented, and we are exploring all of our legal options. A joke. This organization and Alex Morello are a joke.
And how about them playing the victim card too, Shu? You said like later in that
Total victim
statement
card.
saying, well, it would have had 2,000 acres of state land, or it would have been directly to K through 12 education, and it would have made over $2 billion. Not the fact that they're going to mention that and we're still going to continue going, but they just mentioned, well, this is what you could have had, but it was the ALSLD that pulled out.
And one last thing before we go to break here, guys, and catch up with former Chiefs kicker Nick Lowry. Speaking of land, we'll get into that, where the state of Kansas is buying also for the Chiefs and the Royals to come over on the other side of the river and go in Kansas. It's a statement from Gary Bettman that it's already, 6:30, going on 6:30 back there. What kind of a statement the National Hockey League will have in reference to this. And he has been in the Coyotes' court from the get-go. Now, whether he's in Alex Murillo's court from here on out, knowing that the State Land Trust has come out with this, and Murillo did not meet the requirements. Trust me, folks, he did not meet the requirements. I've been in this business forever and a day. I know that business. They would not throw that out there as a last-second ploy to keep him from doing a deal. They got all this land. They need the money. They want the money. They reinvest in the state. They did not do this for favorites. There's no emotion involved. You have to meet the criteria like everybody else. So curious to see what Gary Bettman is going to be doing next. Speaking of that, we'll talk to Kansas City Chiefs great kicker Nick Lowry about the potential of the Chiefs and Royals moving to Kansas, and also he does a great event called called Christmas in July. Nick Lowry joining us next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Clear. This is what's trending on Fox Sports 910 Phoenix.
Morelos hope to reestablish the Coyotes in Arizona with a new arena.
tequilas by Rolling Stone. Head over to your local store, favorite bar, or restaurant and enjoy. Go to elbanditoyankee.com and break out the Bandito with the official tequila of game day.
Big changes in life are often followed by big changes to your hair. Whether it's long, short, curly, straight, blonde, brown, or even purple, your hair is an expression of your identity. Pantene Infinite Lengths Pro Vitamin Formula rebuilds hair bonds as well as a leading luxury brand to keep your hair healthy so you can authentically express yourself. Pantene is proud to partner with iHeartRadio and P&G in supporting Can't Cancel Pride and the entire LGBTQ+ community. Links of strength of you. Learn more at can'tcancelpride.com.
Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports, presented by Elf Cosmetics and Elf Skin. Gymnastics Olympic team trials are coming up in Minneapolis. 16 women will compete for 5
He's good to go.
The top all-around performer automatically goes. A selection committee chooses the other 4 gymnasts to represent the U.S. Simone Biles, Suni Lee, Jordan Childs are all favorites to make the team. U.S. women have won a medal in every Olympic team competition since '92. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts.
When it comes to women in sports, Elf Cosmetics and Elf Skin is all about leveling the playing field. The same goes for the boardroom, where Elf is one of only 4 publicly traded U.S. companies with a board that's 2/3 women and 1/3 diverse. Learn more at elfbeauty.com.
You're hot. Well, there's a lot of land issues going on in the state of Arizona. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, that the Arizona State Land Trust has canceled the bid that's supposed to be up next Thursday, June 27th, for the Coyotes to go ahead and bid on that. There are some issues that the criteria has not been met by that Coyotes, so they've canceled that for now. But some other land scenarios very interesting, going back to Kansas City, Missouri, as the state legislature of Kansas has approved a bond to potentially go after the Chiefs and the Royals in reference to maybe moving them on the other side of the river, since they've got a bond that they could float, that they could go ahead and afford to do that. So we thought the guy, it's solely apropos. Every once in a while that, it falls right in your lap. A guy that was with the Chiefs for many, many years is the greatest kicker of all time for the KC Chiefs. Matter of fact, he's on the Wall of Fame. He's in the Chiefs Hall of Fame. Nick Lowry now joining us here on the right Toyota Guest Land. So, Nick, it's Manuch alongside Jax. How appropriate when talking about land and potential moving or developing going on. Just your initial thoughts when you see the state of Kansas approve a bond that could move your Chiefs and Royals onto the Kansas side of the river.
Well, buddy, first of all, thanks for the kind words. It's 5 years, right?
Right.
And the stadium issue, it's, if you look at it with that long lens, almost 50 years, even though it seems like the end of the world, that you're going to move the stadiums, you're moving, it's sort of like moving, from Mars or something. The truth is, interesting insight, talking with some folks that I know back there, is the way the Chiefs were hamstrung and almost hostage to anything that the Royals did. So the first proposal, which required only $300 million from the Chiefs to, continue to upgrade a very old, if not incredibly popular, very popular, Arrowhead Stadium, the home. I mean, it's sort of like there's a burial ground there. It's got all of this sort of sacred history behind it, and all of these AFC Championship games. It's tough to get your mind around the movement, but here's the truth. All right, here's my take, only my opinion, which is the Chiefs knew that by having a combined issue and vote, which they got killed on with the Royals 57-42, they knew they had to do that. They were required legally that they had to do a joint proposal with the Royals. That's not the case now. And I believe that in accordance with and congruence with the Chiefs becoming America's team. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys fans, it is over. We are America's team now. That himself, living in Dallas, growing up in Dallas, not being actually the ball boy that charted me against John Stennard and told his dad, Lamar Hunt, the founder of the Chiefs and the AFL, Lamar Hunt. Clark Hunt's going to become his own 2.0 of Jerry Jones. He's going to, this is my prediction, I could be wrong, but with this new star bond, it was going to be 75%. It used to be 50%, now it's 70%. So if the Chiefs do a Stadium alone, and it may end up being with the Royals, but I predict it won't be. It's just too complicated right now.
Sure.
It might end up being that. That's $1.4 billion of the $2 billion. That's $600 million. The Hunt family is worth $24 billion, according to one estimate. And you can always take out a loan when you've got some value and you've got assets like that, especially the current reigning world champion. And again, I hasten to say, America's new team. And so what I see is a complex in Kansas with somebody, a new constituency that's going to be perhaps just not taking it for granted, because Jackson County, God bless them, has lost the Kansas City Kings, has lost the St. Louis Cardinals. Football team has lost the St. Louis Rams that were Super Bowl champions, for God's sake. Jackson County has had a history of not being very efficient at getting together and organized to pass things that involve that three-letter word, tax. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a beautiful new complex, $2 billion it costs to build a new stadium, Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, by the way, done by a Kansas City architect. I think it'll be very possible to do an even nicer one here, but also a la Jerry Jones, with several venues, with hotels, with restaurants, with movie theaters, with cultural events that make it a year-round draw, because everybody's floating out, Dan, Jax, that stadiums don't usually pay for themselves, contrary to the arguments they make to fund them in the first place. But the truth is, Jerry Jones and the value of the Cowboys is now at billion. They are way ahead of everybody else because of the Jerry Jones factor, which is making it into a small city. That's what I see happening now. I see it's time. Kansas City has matured. It's almost 50 years later. Time for a new venue, and it's going to be in Kansas.
And for a lot of folks, people just go, well, there's Kansas City, Kansas, Kansas City, Missouri, and me going back to K-State had to kind of learn that. All you do is just kind of cross the bridge, so it wouldn't be any more out of sorts for the Chiefs fans per se, whether it's Missouri or Kansas. Would it not be, Rick and Nick?
It would be, at most 30 minutes. And the thing with the old proposal was there is no parking. There's no parking plan downtown Kansas City. So, you've got to have that and have parking combined with that synergy, big word, synergy, but you used apropos, by the way, here. You're using the big word. Is what it's the K-State Wildcat education, and I absolutely believe that if I was Clark Hunt, it's time, and he's a little bit more of impetus. Hey, we gave you a chance in Jackson County. You not only defeated it, you defeated it badly, 57-42. So I think this could be the time for a big move.
He's Nick Lowry. You can also tweet him at Nick at Lowry Nick at Lowry Nick, and also go to his website, nicklowry.com. All right. We'll dive into the Chiefs as time comes around, but you always have a very special event. Christmas in July at St. Vincent de Paul. I wanted to share that ahead of time. It's about 4 weeks away. But you do such a great job at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, and Easter, and now Christmas in July. Define that and see how people can get involved with that, Nick.
Well, first of all, I got to thank the best run nonprofit in Phoenix, St. Vincent de Paul, and Shannon Clancy, who succeeded Steve Zabilski, Danielle McMahon, Tony Alvarez, Jerry Castro, Jessica Berg, and all of those people. I mean, we're still working together, and we made it through COVID and all of those restrictions. We made Phoenix the first city to provide free COVID testing for the homeless, and we put a human face on the map for the homeless. I think people are treated just that little bit better. It's always desperate, but we've created, I think, a sense of community and compassion and empathy. And right now, what is it, 113 today, 114 is the high. And it's going to be, usually with all the asphalt downtown, 5 degrees warmer. You're literally melting on the street. And so we want to make sure, because there are lots of organizations, with all due respect to what we do, there are lots of organizations on Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. But in the middle of the summer, our last event on Easter, we provided 1,100 meals, 1,100 homeless, 1,000 pairs of underwear, socks, T-shirts, chiropractors, haircutters, incredible music with CeCe Yon and her band. but most of all, just overwhelming our homeless brothers and sisters with a sense that they're not forgotten. Because here's the truth. In Maricopa County last year, there were 91,000 evictions. 91,000 evictions. And that translates to over 200,000 people temporarily homeless. It's terrible. And so right now, every single person that leaves homelessness is replaced by two people that enter homelessness. That's unfortunately the reality of the economy today.
2 minutes.
Far too many people within one or two paychecks of being homeless that are not mentally ill, that don't have significant addiction issues. So, there for the grace of God goes us, and anybody that wants to participate, you can go to nicklowry.com or find me on Facebook, Nick Lowry, Nick the Kick, or Nick Lowry 88 on Instagram, and we'll get you in there. We start at 9:30 on Sunday, the 28th of July. We'll be done before 1 o'clock, and you will feel so incredibly blessed. I get emotional every time I think about this.
Sure.
What it's like to leave that facility knowing you've given people a sense that they still matter. God, there's no greater blessing than that.
And Nick, it's been a blessing for me to participate for so many years to go down there and just have conversation with these individuals. And to your point, a lot of them just, bad luck. The mental issues, no mental issues. They're just people that have bad luck. They've lost their jobs. And they're just trying to find a way. And let me commend you and St. Vincent de Paul for all the great things you do for the homeless. And hopefully the biggest thing that I don't think people realize, you want to get them back out there in the community and back on their feet. And I think that's the biggest thing that St. Vincent de Paul does as well.
Yeah, we're not only feeding, but as they say, teach a man to fish, and a woman in that case. We provide facilities and training and opportunities to help in that process to get back the self-confidence and the structure mentally and physically to be part of, a tax-paying, career-based life where you're independent again. And part of that also, I just got to bring this up, is we have to come up with a strategy for mini homes, because we know with some level of ownership, even if it's a small place, even if it's, 800 square feet, you got something you can call your own. You're going to treat it with love, and people will then want to stay, doing what it takes to be independent, to be healthy in a real life.
Nick, you're doing a great job. We appreciate it. Love you, brother. Give our love down there to St. Vincent de Paul. If there's anything else to do, we'll send everybody your website, nicklowry.com, or Twitter at Lowry Nick. And Facebook, what's the Facebook site again, Nick?
And thank you. God bless you too. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. We depend on the storytellers to say this is important, and you just did that. So God bless you.
Thank you, Nick. Have a great day. Appreciate that. Nick is courtesy of Twin Peaks, as the weekend gets off at Twin Peaks now with 5 Valley locations. Twin Peaks, your NHL playoff headquarters. Well, coming up, tap, we'll look at the latest State 48 roofing. It's your call question of the day. All that and much, much more. We put up a wrap. Another great week of Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B right here on Fox Sports 910.
Clear traffic from the Valley Toyota Dealers Traffic Center.
101 Pima Freeway northbound. We have an accident off road. Also a crash reported 10 westbound. This is near Dysart Road. Stop and go traffic from 91st Avenue. And a vehicle fire. This is Warner Road east of Arizona Avenue.
This report is sponsored by your Valley Toyota dealers. So it's a great time to get a new Toyota. Choose from best models like RAV4, Highlander, Tundra, and Tacoma, or check out the all-new 2025 Camry. Visit any one of the 10 Valley Toyota dealers or valleytoyotadealers.com today.
When you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle wreck, Warner Road will take you from wreck to check, from crash to cash, from accident to whatever rhymes with accident, and we'll help you with all the details in between. We'll help you get to the right doctors even if you don't have health insurance. We'll help you get your car fixed. We'll help you get your doctor bills paid, and then we'll fight with the insurance companies to get you every dollar you deserve. Hurt in a wreck? Call Lerner and Rowe. We're with you every step of the way.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
The Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westwood, with Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. This year, escape indoors to 72 degrees. Games for the whole family. Don't miss fan favorite Copper State Rodeo Company bull riding, mutton busting for kids, and more.
Presented by Lerner and Rowe. Come check out the second annual Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers Summer Slider Eating Contest. Chips are full of fun and games, like musical chairs, cakewalks, and more on the main stage. Presented by Wright Toyota and Wright Honda. And of course, everybody's favorite backyard barbecue by M Culinary Concepts. The presentation of colors and national anthem. The 5th annual Parade of Heroes, honoring outstanding leaders in 6 categories. It's the Scottsdale 4th of July celebration at Westwood News and Scottsdale's biggest fireworks show in history. Tickets now at scottsdale4th.com. Presented by R Entertainment and M Culinary Concepts.
Attention drivers, your safety matters. All City Towing, Arizona's largest towing storage services contractor, proudly sponsors the Move Over law. And slow down. Drive safe, Arizona. Sponsored by City Towing.
All-in-one wireless copier and printer or IT help for your business? Call Document Solutions. Solutions for copier and IT. Support your business no matter how big or small. Take advantage of either buying, leasing, or renting makes and models of copiers. For a free quote, call 623-282-8282. Document Solutions of the Valley. Our service can't be copied.
Hi, I'm Burt Ward, Robin from TV's Batman, inviting you to feed your dog natural, non-GMO, Gentle Giants dog and puppy food. Dogs eating Gentle Giants and following our special feeding and care program are living as long as 27 healthy, active years with a wonderful quality of life. Holy wow, 27 years! Think of all the extra years you could enjoy with your dog at Petco, Stater Brothers, H-E-B, and more. Try Gentle Giants cat and kitten food, too.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today.
Now back to the Roc and Manuch Show, live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the selection, and always right on the price. Toyota, 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale, and online at wrighttoyota.com. Meant for Moments, The Drive with Jody Ayler. Listen Monday, 6 to 10 on Fox Sports 910.
We're going to wrap another fine edition of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. And out here at Wright Toyota. Let's do a couple of the little football 50s before we get to what's on tap in our State 40 Roofing. It's your call question today. Jax, you got a little something over there?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl ring from the Kansas City Chiefs, speaking of the Chiefs, but on the bottom, they put like the matchups and the scores with the seed of the teams underneath the ring.
Okay.
And apparently they messed up the seeding for the Miami Dolphins. The ring has the Miami Dolphins listed as the 7th seed, but in fact, they were the 6th seed. So people on the New Heights podcast, which is a very popular podcast with Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey. Jason Kelsey asked his brother, he said, "Hey, what do you think about the error?" And he said, quote, "I don't give a blank." He said, "Who cares about what seed the Miami Dolphins have? They were the 7th. Who cares? We don't care about the seeds. It'll be fine." So I just thought that was pretty funny how they made a little error, but it seems like none of the Chiefs players care.
You know what? How do you think the Jewelers feeling about that right now? I mean, going, oh my gosh, we got the seeds messed up. We got the team right, but they were the 6th seed. We put the 7th seed. You imagine if the Chiefs said, "Hey, look, we're going to send all these back."
So speaking of all of them, the Chiefs made more than 400 rings to distribute for the championship amongst all their staff. Each one has 529 diamonds, 38 rubies, 14.8 carats worth of gems.
And you can imagine, you think of, I always think of like, okay, appraisal time, right? So you said they had 400 of them?
400.
Let's say they're worth 20 grand a piece. Let's see. Carry them $8 million worth of rings the Hunt family spent for those 400 people. I think that's awesome.
It's actually was 24 million. Believe it or not.
Okay. So
it's a little more expensive.
Wow. So I got to tell you what, for $1 billion industry, they're probably making $4 or $5 billion a year. I think they could cut a check for $24 million. But could you imagine if the Hunt family going, hey, Mr. Jeweler, got a little mistake here, but here's the thing. What makes that so unique now that Travis Kelce is alluding to is that there's a gaff on the Super Bowl ring. So 20, 25, 30 years from now, when his grandkids, he and Taylor Swift have had several kids. They got grandkids. You know, they got the Swifties all over the place, right? And say, hey, look, you want to see a huge faux pas in the ring I won in the 2023-2024 Super Bowl? Here it is right here. That's a great trivia question for years to come.
Well, and out of all the errors that they could have made, they could have spelt Mahomes' name wrong on the side of the ring. They could have had the wrong score of the Super Bowl. So realistically, this error is not a big deal. I thought it was Travis Kelce's response is perfect.
Let's take a look at what's on tap right now. Currently, the Diamondbacks and Phillies, they haven't started. That, folks, is on Apple TV Plus. And another game for you, I want to see you Braves and Yankees fans. And Schubert's a huge Yankees fan, even though he loves the Mets. That is also on Apple TV Plus as well. So if you want to go watch all that. I'm sorry, what'd you say there, Shu?
Hey guys, do you know what's not on tap? The land auction for the Arizona Coyotes next week.
Yeah,
listen, I'm sorry. They brought this on themselves with how poorly they handled it. They are going to be the butt of all of my jokes, okay? Because there's a story on azcentral.com that I'm trying to work through while we're on the air, and I'm here to tell you there's some quotes in here for some people, and it's not good.
And you're going to be hosting Monday morning. Is that correct, Shu?
Yeah, I'm filling in next week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the drive in the mornings. Now, don't worry, everybody. I'm still going to be here in the afternoons as well. I'm pulling double duty next week. So I'm here to tell you might get more of my thoughts on this story on Monday.
I can imagine. Hey, let's get let's on What's on Tap is brought to you by Roc and Manuch Lager and Amber. Amber located at Arena Sports Grill in Scottsdale. Amber in the Sportsbook in CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona, along with Upper Crust in Phoenix. All right. Jax, what do we got for our State 40 Roofing? It's your call question of the day.
Yeah, you can go to Roc and Manuch on Twitter and vote. Now that summer has started, what is your weekend go-to? The options are the backyard pool / barbecue, the nearest lake, head to California, or just stay at home and chill. And the winner of the poll is stay at home and chill at 80%. Followed by the backyard pool and barbecue at 13.3%, head to California 6.7%, and the nearest lake at 0%. And we talked during the break on what we would pick. I think we both agreed in Arizona that we would pick stay home and chill.
I mean, anytime I get a chance to do a whole lot of nothing, which is rare, I love staying home and chilling. Matter of fact, I was asking my wife, is this what you're supposed to do? She's like, yeah, honey, you can just relax and do a lot of nothing. It's tough. Hey, so just one more time for what's on tap. The Stanley Cup final, Game 6, Panthers and Oilers. That coming up at 5:00. That will be on ABC. Again, as Shu alluded to, the Arizona State Land and Trust has canceled the bid for next Thursday, June 27th, at the Coyotes.
30.
Pretty much have, I don't know what they got left, but they had a release. The State Land Trust had a release. Craig Morgan, I'm sure, will have that. You'll see over the weekend. But our one, Chris Schubert,
20.
He'll have his guns a-blazing on Monday morning. For the folks out here, right, Toyota.